morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. Congratulations on everybody who guessed the correct color of the hat. I think it's more of a off-white, but white counts. I think white counts, doesn't it? Off-white and white are the same. It's not blue with blue brim.
I would say it's white.
All right. If you compare it, like there's my AirPod case. Like it's a little off-white.
Your AirPod case looks more off-white than your hat.
What?
Yeah.
You got
maybe
chat. The AirPod case looks more white. Jay's off-white. Fuck you. Why are people saying low mic? It's not showing low mic on my end. Is it really a...
I don't hear it through the stream.
How's the mic sound, everybody?
You didn't check the mic, so I mean that could be the issue. I
did check the mic. I said mic check a bunch of times. Mic sounds fine. All right. It might be you. Anacle. I don't know how you say that. How do you say that? Probably not anacle. It's probably not
that. I wouldn't think that it would, but you know, we'll just go with it.
We're on, I take a week off of my medication about once every 2 or 3 months. So today's day one of unmedicated me. So, Jen.
Great. Great.
Is that a quiet fuck I just heard there?
Yeah. You're dealing with you is like herding cats while you're medicated.
Yeah.
Not medicated. Fuck my life, dude.
Absolute chaos trying to put the outline together this morning. I got distracted so many times. At one point, I found myself in my car driving, and I had no idea why I was in my car driving. It's like, oh no. So I went and got coffee. That's not what I was going to do. I rarely go and get coffee, but I was like, I guess we're doing this. So.
Well.
I know I was doing something. I think what happened is I have for my gate, there's like a key fob. And sometimes when I have a grocery store close by, so I'll just walk and I don't want to take my keys because I'm always wearing gym shorts and it weighs down my shorts and I hate having heavy pockets. Anyways, so I'll take the key fob off so I can get in and out. And I found my key fob in the laundry and put it on my keychain. And then I think I was like, I gotta go. So I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
Awesome. Well,
best of luck to you. It's only one day though. You only have today and tomorrow.
You said a week. So when do you go back on your medication? Are you going back on next Wednesday?
Yeah, probably Thursday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see.
So it's like a whole week. So I get 2 days today and then 3 next week.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I have to take my daughter to the store later to pick up some things. I'm gonna fuck that up. I don't know if I told you this the other day on Tuesday. I didn't tell you this on Tuesday. I had her backpack and I set it down and I left her backpack at the school, which is pretty cool. I had to call I know one of the counselors. I had to call them and they had to go unlock the school and get the backpack for me. So it's pretty cool when dad and daughter are ADHD. It can be real chaos sometimes.
Yeah, well, I guess gonna keep things exciting for everybody.
Speaking of exciting,
what?
You got anything exciting going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
No date?
Possibly this weekend.
We still haven't lined that up all the way.
Well, there's been discussion, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet. So where
are we thinking?
I don't know. Like I said, nothing. We haven't confirmed anything. So,
just a nice candlelit dinner at the cemetery.
Yeah, we're gonna go harvest some bodies first, and then wrap up the cemetery. So,
really good, Gumps. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah, gonna keep things exciting.
Yeah, no, don't do that, Cranberry. Sorry, Cranberry said I can't wait to type the most out of pocket shit in chat now that I know Jay is likely to be distracted. Today's going to be chaos. I'm sorry.
All right. Well,
take it away, Jen. I'll just sit back and relax.
Steve, your comment got auto-modded on YouTube. You say some weird shit about
What did he
things.
say? What did he say?
He said something like yesterday that was fucking weird. I think he wanted to say Jen want to go. I mean, he said dicko dancing, but I think he meant dick dancing.
Could have been disco.
I don't think so, but
it couldn't be disco. It has to.
The reason why is I saw something. I think yesterday he said something weird. I don't know. Just
all right.
certain things that I notice here and there that I notice that are odd. Yeah, yesterday you said something weird that got flagged too. I'm not going to say that out loud, but yeah. Anyways.
All right.
But all right. Well, since we're
decided to say Steve, Alabama. Do you feel like there's a curve? No.
Well, I think he's on the left, at least going back and looking at his other comments.
All right. Well,
lefty. But anyways, back. That's enough attention for men. So, all right, we're getting started. We got the gift goal. Like you guys know, we do this each day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. This is our job. We need to hit that gift goal so that we can keep doing this each day and bringing the information and the insanity with Jay being unmedicated. So, if you guys want to knock out that goal sooner rather than later, that would be dope. Since I'm going to be wanting to pull my hair out. Anyways, we're not a paid subscriber.
All right, Brazaza.
What?
Never mind.
What?
Nothing.
What did you say?
No, I shouldn't have said that one. It's not. It's kind of. I just don't want to explain it. You can ask me later.
Okay. Well, neither one of us will remember. But anyway.
Perfect.
So, all right. If you haven't subscribed, please become a paid member wherever you're watching. So you can join us for the members only event next Wednesday. If you guys disagree with our TP, you can come up and have a conversation. How you do that is you send me a message on Discord. My Discord's the same as the Venmo, so Jen with 2 N's, Deb with 2 B's, the number 1. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Just chat. Just the chat. They're good. I'm sorry. I tried to move away from the mic. That's my bad.
Whatever. Anyways, if you want to come on and talk to Jay, message me on Discord, same as the Venmo. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. I'm gonna have to go back and read why you're chuckling.
Somebody asked yesterday, when are you doing your Cameo? I guess we could just have. I guess people could, if they wanted to, they could just submit orders for you instead.
I mean, possibly. I don't. What would you guys want me to do Cameo? I mean, I don't even know what.
Don't ask that question. Yeah, what would you guys want Jen to do on Cameo?
True.
Just insult you.
I mean, that probably would be a thing. I know I don't want to get necessarily yuck anyone's yum, but
yeah, go ahead, submit them. We'll see what happens. See.
Degradate data daddy. Stupid. Anyways, let's get going with it. Gift goal. What's 6 inches long, has 2 nuts on top.
On top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Wait, hold on. Snickers?
An almond joy.
Almond joy. Oh, gross. I don't know why people eat almond joy.
They're good.
For real?
Well, actually, I prefer Mounds.
What's Mounds? Is that without the coconut?
That's without the almonds.
It's without the almonds. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand Mounds or almond joy. I don't understand coconut in a dessert at all, unless it's like, like coconut flavored, like a gelato.
I mean, I like some coconut. I mean, not a lot, but a little bit. So, all right.
Well, bye, Jen. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Jen, I love some of you. Jen should be banned for liking almond joy. That's a crazy thing to like. I don't think you like yourself very much if you enjoy eating almond joy. First video of the day. I'm just going to show you because I had to see it. I don't even know what this is. I know there's a longer interview, and I don't know if I have enough stuff to cover today. So if we run out of stuff, we might just turn on the interview. But I'm just going to make you watch this. Yeah. No. Let's see it again. She did like this whole interview about how crazy everybody is. It's like everybody's so crazy. And she wore this outfit. This was the outfit she chose. Is she doing an RFK impression? Yeah. Or yeah, her freedom hat. It's dark Erica Kirk. She's entering her villain mode, I guess. Not conspiracy at all that she's an ass. I was trying to explain to somebody yesterday about Erica that didn't know much about Erica Kirk. Like, I was like, she definitely is like, definitely had a part of her husband's death. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was trying to explain like how crazy everything was. And then when you try and explain to somebody what happened with Charlie Kirk and like the events on the day that he died and then leading up to now, I don't think you could explain it in a way where somebody would be like, oh, no, there's no foul play here. The entire thing, like top to bottom, just from the first guy that they said was the shooter who happened to be like he had been at one in like Seattle. And then there's that video of Tyler Robinson like running across the roof where all of a sudden like the last 6 steps before he jumps off, like his shadow just disappears because that totally can fucking happen. And then the gun being found just across the street in a weird place. And then him at Dairy Queen. And then they said he admitted the crime and turned himself in. And now it turns out he didn't admit it. They just threatened him. So he turned himself in. And his whole family's like, nah, he didn't do this. And then the letter to his partner that looked like it was written by somebody in their like 60s. My dearest, my beloved, I so long for your touch. I so long for your love. The whole thing was just look up a picture of Sonya Blaze. This makes me nervous. That sounds like a well, what was that? Not American Ninja Warrior. What was that show? American Gladiator. Sonya Blaze. Am I gonna get in trouble for this? Oh, why? No. Wait, why did I look that up? No, that is it. That's Blade. Okay. Okay. Blaze is apparently an adult film star. Oh, from Mortal Kombat. Okay. Yeah, that is a little Erica Kirkian, isn't it? Okay, don't look up Sonya Blaze unless you want to, in which case you can look up Sonya Blaze. But American Gladiator's coming back for real. That's great news. Okay, let's leave my ADHD. I also wanted to show you this because sometimes Donald Trump is funny, and I hate when I have to admit that. I don't know if he meant to be this funny, but this is Trump taking questions at the Artemis II event, and he's here with the Artemis II astronauts and Jared Isaacman, who is the NASA, what do they call it? The administrator? Is that what you call him? I think it's NASA administrator. Trump was accidentally kind of funny, and the Zoom by Fox News is devastating here.
Over here, you heard that question? With those beautiful ears of yours? He's got great hearing, he's got super hearing.
Trick of the trade, sir.
The Zoom is devastating. The Zoom is diabolical by Fox News here.
Over here, you heard that question?
I know it's quiet.
Beautiful ears of yours? He's got great hearing, he's got super hearing.
Trick of the trade, sir.
What's the answer to that?
I think the answer to that is we're
over here.
Yeah, anyways, but those are 2 videos that's ADHD brain this morning. Then Trump later on was asked about the Artemis II astronauts, and he came up with another really good joke. This is maybe one of his best jokes.
People have unbelievable courage, unbelievable. A lot of other things too, by the way. To get in there, you have to be very smart. You have to do a lot of things physically good. So I would have had no trouble making it. I'm physically very, very good.
This guy, he's physically very, very good. He's doing really, really well.
Very good. Maybe
I don't know. I don't know. Trump spent all night looking at King Charles' ears and couldn't say anything, so he took it out on the poor schmuck. Maybe. The 60 Minutes picture? What's the 60 Minutes picture? Well, he might not be able to walk in a straight line, but he could float in a straight line. I'm looking up 60 Minutes picture. Oh no. Oh no. How was that last clip a joke? Because it was unironically. He looks great. You can really see the girdle in this one. You can really see the outlines of the girdle. That's tough. All right. Okay. Anything else? I want to talk about what Republicans are doing right now in trying to spin how things are going. One thing I think that Republicans were right about, and that they probably should have figured out, is during the last administration, the Biden administration would spend a ton of time saying, guys, things are getting better. Like, we had record inflation, but things are getting better. They're explaining how things are getting better. I don't know if there was like a better way to explain that or not, but it didn't work. Clearly, the people in America were like, okay, like, just take some blame. And there was a sentiment across America, at least especially amongst Trump voters and disaffected Democrat voters, that there was no accountability, and instead they were just saying how great they were doing. Apparently, that's what Republicans have decided to do for the midterms. They're not going to make anything better. Things are going horrifically, so they're just going to start lying. This is not start lying, keep lying. This is Representative Babin here with Midas Touch. First, he runs past them, but then he decides to come back, and he shouldn't have come back.
Congressman, real quick, has Donald Trump kept his promise to lower prices? No, I know. Congressman, has Donald Trump kept his promise? Midas Touch.
Who you with?
Midas Touch.
Okay.
Has Donald Trump kept his promise to lower prices? I'm asking all your Republican colleagues.
We saw the prices come down dramatically. But
Huh? When did the prices come down dramatically?
we're involved in a conflict with the worst regime, terrorist exportation regime, and probably in the last 100 years. And this is going to be over soon, and we'll get these prices down. I live, and my district is in the epicenter of energy in southeast Texas, the greater Houston region. You're going to see prices come down as soon as we get through with this.
If it was a report card,
The president keeps his promises.
if it was a report card, what grade would you give him on the economy?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
If it was like a report card, say, what grade would you give Trump on the economy then?
On the economy?
Yeah.
I think he's got a B average right now. But he had an A, it went to a B, and it's going to go back to an A.
Got it. Thank you, Congressman.
Okay.
What country has he been in? Prices were going up, inflation was going up before this war. So they're just going to run on, oh, we had to have this war, that's why prices are up. Maria Bartiromo's show is rolling out all sorts of cope. This is where they test out all their talking points. And here we have on I don't even know who this dude is that's filling in, but listen to this cope. Don't worry about the gas prices, guys. Think about the future.
Trying to drive home the point that, yes, there is going to be some pain now. But in the end, it may not be in 6 months, it may not be a year, but for the future, if this plays out the way President Trump wants it to play out in Iran and the way our military is setting it up to play out, that the combination...
Oof. Tough prices to look at.
And the way our military is setting it up to play out, that the combination of the UAE leaving OPEC and the combination of...
Yeah, we didn't cover that yesterday, but the UAE is leaving OPEC. They want a little more independence. Nobody's explained to me how that's a benefit. I don't know. Rarely is lack of cooperation better. I don't know how UAE leaving OPEC would drive prices down. They keep saying it like it's going to drive prices down. I haven't seen an economist or anybody give me a sensible answer as to why the UAE leaving OPEC would drive prices down. But that's why I didn't cover it, because it kind of seems like a nothing burger to me.
So much American energy production could lead to an energy future where my kids and my grandkids will be paying pennies on the dollar compared to what we're paying now for energy. Don't you think the administration needs to...
What, when? Fucking when? When has that ever worked? In what country has that ever worked? We're going to drill more oil and the oil companies are going to sell it for pennies on the dollar. It's either lying, incompetence, or stupidity, or some mixture of both. It costs a certain amount of money to drill for oil and then refine oil. And we live in a country where it's very expensive to do all of those things. How the fuck would we sell gas for next to nothing, for pennies on the dollar? Do we think the oil companies are just going to stop taking a profit? Just going to be like, oh, never mind. We're going to lose money now. Even what they're saying, like prices are going to come down. But how fucking brain dead do you have to be to watch Fox News at this point? It'll be pennies on the dollar. No, it won't. It will always be fucking expensive. And the more we drill here, the more expensive it's going to be. If we wanted lower prices, capitalists, wouldn't we want to drill other places? Wouldn't we want to refine other places where the cost of acquisition and manufacturing and refining is cheaper so that we could just pay to purchase oil and it would be cheaper? Is there a Republican here that can explain to me how drill baby drill is going to give us the lowest energy prices in the world? How did you guys fall for that in the first place? For people who love to talk about common sense, Jesus fucking Christ, you don't seem to understand the acquisition price and then profit.
Penny.
I just have a quick question because I've seen AOC say she was going to take a stance on that. Do you believe she will actually push back? I'm not sure what you're saying. Push back on what?
On the dollar compared to what we're paying now for energy. Don't you think the administration needs to drive that point home more than it is currently?
This isn't DTS. What's DTS? Donald Trump syndrome? Is that what it is? We're not talking about Trump right now. This is math. This is math. Supply and demand. Yeah, supply and demand. You think the oil companies are going to keep increasing the supply if they have to sell it at a loss? No. Why would they do that? If the oil companies have to start selling oil at a loss, they will stop drilling.
Well, that's exactly what we have been doing, and we've been pointing to the fact that, look, prior to the start of Operation Epic Fury, oil and gas prices were at multi-year lows, and that was a direct result of what this president has done.
Multi-year lows. I'm going to show you gas prices in a minute, but that's nothing. Gas price. I don't think they were at multi-year. I mean, what's multi-year? 2-year lows?
Here on the home front with unleashing American
Donald Trump syndrome. Yeah, it's where you're a Donald Trump syndrome, I think, is where you're a fucking dipshit who inherited a bunch of money and people think you're smart because daddy gave you money.
Energy with unleashing American energy dominance. And so again, we've been very clear, the president's very clear that these are short-term disruptions, but the fundamentals are strong. This is a country that we don't rely on oil and gas flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. We drill and produce our oil and gas right here at home. And so we're committed to this agenda. And again, we have a proven track record here.
Of what? Everything they're saying is fake. Everything Republicans are saying now is just legitimately a lie. It's going so poorly that they're just telling you that what you're seeing.
Chances for holding the House. I mean, even the Senate is somewhat questionable. I don't know if you put any stock in that, but there were some developments this week.
No, I don't.
Seems like negative developments in Virginia, I think, for Democrats, positive developments for Republicans in Texas, something happening in Florida now. What is do you think there's any way that your party holds on in November to the House?
Absolutely. And look, it's a path that is focused on turning.
He said absolutely. You got no fucking shot. It's like 98% at this point. You got no fucking shot.
Out number one, and delivery. What we've delivered to finally start turning this mess around that we inherited a year and a half ago. People that will remember, you go back 2 years ago, we were paying almost $6 a gallon for gasoline.
What? 2 years ago, we were paying $6 a gallon for gasoline. All right.
Right now it's in the threes. Obviously, we've seen a jump with the Iran conflict.
When were
but
we
it's
paying 6?
Still 50.
What,
well, two and a half years ago.
I don't
but
think
if
we were.
you look at
that wasn't the average
look at where
price.
we are now, we're over 30% below where we were just 2 years ago.
All right. I'm going to do a little math. If we were paying $6 2 years ago, and we're paying 30% less now, take $6. This is the way I do math. That's what, $1.80 would be 30 cents off that. So that puts us at, I guess, are we close there? Yeah, 420. Yeah.
Today we are.
He said, or just a second ago, we were in the threes, but now he's saying 420. Can we get our math right there? Like, can we go back here?
Half ago. People that will remember, you go back 2 years ago, we were paying almost $6 a gallon for gasoline. Right now it's in the threes. Obviously, we've seen a jump with the Iran conflict.
When were
but
we
it's
paying 6?
Still 50.
What,
well, two and a half years ago.
I don't think we were. That wasn't the average price.
Guys, there's sound. If you're not getting sound, scroll out and back in. I'm monitoring the sound. There's sound. It might be a YouTube thing.
Now we're over 30% below where we were just 2 years ago. Today we are 30% below where we were 2 years ago. It's still going to go lower when Iran gets.
Okay, let's look at this. Now I have up through April. We look at 2 years ago. We're at through April 410. 2 years ago we were 361. At no point have we ever been at 6. The highest it got was July of 2022 at 455. Like everything he's saying, like this is what I'm saying. Everything he's saying is a lie. Even if we wanted to go at any point in April, I think they correct. They say it was like 365 on yesterday, the exact date in April, but it's more expensive now. That's not 30% lower.
Resolved and the Strait of Hormuz gets open, but at the same time, did anybody want a nuclear-armed Iran? I think if you ask most normal people, they would say absolutely not. When they just slaughtered 30,000 of their own people, they were about to get a nuclear weapon.
Again, that number's made up. Slaughtering 30,000 people is a made up number, and about to get a nuclear weapon that we have no evidence of that. This is why Republicans are fucked in the midterms. And Republicans, do you have some self-respect? Are there any of you here today? Is there any self-respect? This has to bother you, right? It has to bother you that they just lie.
And President Trump stopped that, but that's going to get resolved. President Trump's negotiating that right now. He's negotiated a number of peace deals. They're trying to get a resolution between Russia and Ukraine right now, too. So if you look all across the board, we are lowering inflation. Interest rates have started to come down. They're not where we want to be, by the way. We have a lot of work to do. But do you want to go back to the days where interest rates were in double digits, where inflation was 50%?
He hit a triple I. Well done.
Higher than it was today. So we're bringing things down so that we can make life more affordable, but we have more work to do, and that's why we're going to hold the majority.
You must have been on vacation in California. I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, somebody said 49,000 yesterday. Yeah.
In April of 2024, we were at about 365, so we're actually above where we were then. And I'm not.
No, we were well into the fives under Biden. Well into the fives.
Were we though? Were we though? There's the peak. 492 in June of 2022. Why didn't that reflect here? Did I just miss it the first time? Oh yeah, I just missed it the first time. Well into the fives. No fives. 0 fives on the board, but we were well into the fives 4 years ago. For sure, dude. For sure. For sure.
At one point, not 2 years ago.
No, not at one point. At 0 point.
Most of energy production shut down. Energy in the Gulf of America was shut down. Alaska was shut down. We opened that up, by the way, in the working
Right,
families
but
tax
2
cut,
years ago,
and that's why
the
you're seeing
average
more
was
production now.
Exactly 2 years ago, the average was 365 to 367. And I'm not saying that $4 or whatever it is now, that the long-term goals that we're trying to accomplish in the Middle East, I'm not saying it's not worth it for.
Oh, I am mostly because we don't know what the goals are, and the goals that they're stating aren't worth it. I'll say that.
A brief time, but it's definitely going to hurt people. Obviously, this.
Holy Christ! All right, everybody, listen. Stop. Listen. If you can hear this right now, if your sound goes out on YouTube, scroll out and back in. If something's going on with YouTube, that's what fix it. If you can hear this, at some point, if you lose sound, just scroll out and back in.
Summer, if you're paying a lot. Andrew was telling me you're going to stay home.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. They can't hear me, so you guys got to help it. But then, if you're hearing this now, and then eventually your sound goes out.
At this point, right?
Well, I do think you're going to see a resolution to that conflict.
All right. I agree with you. Don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to Steve Scalise. Shouldn't be listening to Steve Scalise ever. Kevin Hassett went on with his weird ass smile, and they're just going to tell you everything's sunshine and rainbows. Like, our economy is completely in the shitter. It's just living in the shitter, and they have the audacity to show up every day and lie right to your fucking face. If they're not lying, if they think this is true, that's probably worse.
Chairman. We've got another poll on the public's and the voters' response to the economy. 47% of voters say that current economic conditions are poor. 73% say the economy is getting worse. Let me express an opinion. I don't think that changes until we get $3 gas. It seems like oil prices, gas prices, they're going to be higher for longer. What do you say to that?
Well, I think that the truth is that, as you know, that we had a solid GDP number come out today.
Well, good. We got a solid GDP number. That'll fix it.
Everybody's like, it's fine. It's fine. I can't afford my groceries. Our GDP number's really good, so fuck it.
It had a massive amount of capital spending. The GDP number itself.
Good. Massive amount of capital spending. That helps you guys a ton. It's really important for all of us that there is a massive amount of capital spending. That's great news. That'll definitely help all of you.
Would have been maybe twice as big, except there were so many imported capital goods. One of the things that I got a chart from my staff said that the quality of imports has never been so high because we're bringing stuff that's going to create jobs and create output going forward.
What are we importing that's going to create jobs? What is he talking about? Do we want to hear this again? This is fucking nonsense. What is he talking about?
Imported capital goods. One of the things that I got a chart from my staff said that the quality of imports has never been so high because we're bringing stuff that's going to create jobs and create output going forward.
Anybody? What is he talking about?
I imported a job maker. It's 3D prints jobs.
What are we talking about? Does somebody want to take a guess? I have no fucking clue. I watched this clip like 5 times. I went to his Twitter. I can't figure out what the fuck he's talking about.
There's a chart that my staff gave me that said the quality of goods is so high that it's going to create jobs.
Oh. How?
You saw that initial claims are the lowest they've been since the 1960s. Government employment is the lowest it's been since World War II. And so we're doing everything to get...
Great. None of these things fucking matter. You know what this proves, by the way? I want to just point out that this kills a Republican talking point.
1960s. Government employment is the lowest it's been since World...
Oh, word? Government employment's at the lowest it's been since World War II and inflation went up? Oh. Spending went up? Oh. Debt went up? Oh. Wages didn't go up? Oh, I guess maybe that shit they tell you all the time that, like, if we spend money on government employees, that's actually what drives up inflation and the debt and the deficit. I guess that doesn't work out, does it? You're at all-time lows since World War II and it's not working? Maybe that was always a fucking lie. Maybe that thing Republicans here... Where's John Fuzz? John Fuzz, I'm going to teach you something today. Try to stop beating off to the idea of communism. cutting government spending doesn't always reduce inflation, especially if you're cutting employees that have a return on investment like the IRS. Turns out it doesn't work, does it? You know, all that stuff they told you about with Doge, we're going to cut the size of the federal government. And you're like, yay, that'll fix it. Didn't fix it, did it? Got worse, didn't it? We got any Republicans here? Do you want to explain to me how we have the lowest government employment since World War II and inflation went up? It's out of curiosity, you guys want to explain it? Robert, why don't you explain that to me real quick? Robert, how did why didn't that work? How come it didn't work? I wouldn't say I'm mad yet, Robert. We'll see. I usually get mad at least once or twice a stream. I wouldn't say mad yet. Confused a little. Confused by you guys. Phoenix said they imported the Torment Nexus based on the popular sci-fi book. For the love of God, don't build the Tournament Nexus. Jobs available. Large balances on EBT. That doesn't... Jesus Christ. Jesus. Just a random sentence generator from Robert. Robert, do you want to explain how cutting government employees, why that didn't work? Large, what did you say? Large balances on EBT. Close, bud. You were so close. You were so close. I did not. Does Jay not get mad when he's not medicated? I don't know. We're going to find out today. Yeah, Robert's not even blaming poor people. He's just saying sentences that are unrelated to what I'm asking. Yeah, drive to velocity of food purchases. Brother, employees, government employees, Robert. I'm asking you about government employees. I'm not asking about EBT. Government employees, Robert. How come cutting government employees didn't work? Let's try this again. Don't engage with Robert on EBT right now. Don't do that yet. Robert needs to stay on topic. Then you guys can make fun of him for EBT. But for just a second, we need Robert to understand the question here. Robert, why did reducing the size of government in terms of government employees not drive down inflation? It was supposed to. That's what they told us that was going to happen. That's what Doge was all about. The food is moving fast. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Maximum velocity. I'm sorry.
We made more aerodynamic food. It gives us maximum velocity. Food fights have gotten out of control.
My bad. All right. Keep going past it.
War II. And so we're doing everything to get our house in order.
Velocity equals distance over time.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. We're about to get in a physics debate. Somehow Robert's going to take us from cutting government workers to EBT to a debate on velocity. E equals MC squared. I don't think that's relevant. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that's not relevant here. Because the people running government right now are idiots. Oh, okay. That also doesn't explain it, Robert. It still doesn't explain why it didn't work. If you cut government employees, it was supposed to lower inflation.
Yeah, but if you cut the government workers and you're dumb, then it doesn't work.
It matters because you shut up, Robert. Okay, sorry.
To get our house in order, and that's going to show up. It's already showing up in people's pockets, as you saw in the personal income.
Inflation is up because of the Iran war raising gas prices. No, it was up before. It had already gone up, bud. You guys, you want to look at inflation by month? Sorry, this might take a long time today. Let's do... That's annually. Okay. Wait, why does that only go to 2? There we go. Trump took office when? January 2025. It was at 3%. It got down to 2.4. Down to 2.3 in April 2025. That was liberation. That was Liberation Day. That was the day we were going to kill inflation. Up, 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 up. Oh, back down, and then boom, 3.3. Didn't really fix it, did it?
Data. And so I think that in the end, people vote their wallets, and I don't really trust surveys.
Unemployment maxing. Clavicular over here.
And, there's academic evidence that supports that too.
You've got to look at the numbers. I mean, you've got an average for regular now of $4.30 a gallon. It was up 7 cents overnight. And diesel's gone to what, $5.50, $5.60? That hits voters hard. All kinds of voters react to that. It's a negative. How long are they going to stay at that level? Can you give us any idea about when they're going to come down?
Well, if you look at the situation in Iran, the Iranian economy is completely on the ropes. They're having a hyper.
Oh, okay.
Well, Iran is doing poorly.
Great. That'll make Americans feel better. I can't afford gas. Would it help to know that the people in Iran are being bombed? Yeah, that does help. Yeah. I guess I don't care anymore that my gas is too high. Where's your humanity? Trump's greatest accomplishment is convincing the average worker to cheer for the wealthy corporation who are stealing your wages and making record profits. It is legitimately his best accomplishment. Celebrate while you lose. Got it.
Inflation. They're running out of food. A huge amount of the feed that goes into their animals is imported through the Gulf and having trouble getting through. And so there's an enormous amount of pressure for Iran to open up. And when they do...
It was open before we started the dumbest fucking war in the world.
We're now putting maximum pressure to get Iran to open up the Strait of Hormuz, which was open before we started this war. So really, this is working.
This is incoherent. Want to hear it again? Let's hear it again.
If you look at the situation in Iran, the Iranian economy is completely on the ropes. They're having a hyperinflation. They're running out of food. A huge amount of the feed that goes into their animals is imported through the Gulf and having trouble getting through. And so there's an enormous amount of pressure for Iran to open up. And when they do, as you saw, that President Trump really broke OPEC because the UAE...
All right, Gary, tell us what we're fixing then. Tell me what Trump has fixed.
I used to be a demon rat, too.
Yeah, we're glad that dipshits like you left our party and went to MAGA. Thank you. You were bringing the collective IQ down.
He has left OPEC, and they have a massive amount of excess capacity. So as soon as we get the strait open, that oil is going to flow like you've never seen before. So I think that...
Oil is going to flow like exactly how it was flowing before we caused the strait to be closed. It's going to flow like you haven't seen since February. This is the dumbest administration that has ever existed. If you are here today and you're defending them, I mean that with all due respect, legitimately. I'm not saying this hyperbolically. Holy fucking shit, you're stupid. Like, holy fucking shit, you're stupid. There's nothing to defend here, which is why when people come in here to defend, they're like,
Democrats are bad.
Yeah, we get it. But if you had something to say, Gary,
border strength, strong, military.
Who gives a shit, Gary? Who gives a fucking shit about any of that? How does a strong military make you better? It doesn't. How does letting in less immigrants make your life better? It doesn't.
I don't know any other things, so I'm just going to say the two things that he's accomplished that benefit me in no way.
You know what the stronger military has benefited us? Nothing. We just have higher inflation. We spend more on the military. Cool. What about closing the border? How's that helped you? It hasn't.
Well, I don't have to talk about it anymore.
Nice. Oh, everything. My bad. What does that do for you, Gary? Everything. The strong military and closed borders is the only way that Gary can come. My God, just looks at a border wall and fires one off. Come on, military. It does nothing for you, Gary, which is why you can't answer the question. If it did, if there was something specific that some specific way that benefited you, you would have given me a specific answer. But you can't give me a specific answer, so you went with everything. Gary the Automatus gained intelligence. Gary was my biological father's name. He looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Markets expect prices to go down a lot, but I think that they're underestimating the effect of increased supply once the strait is open.
Got it.
Got it. All right. So let's just keep lying. There's more Republican lies here. This one, I'm really loving Tim Scott lately because he's turning on the theatrics. Here he was with Bartiromo this morning, and really great. Did he ever get married? Remember when he like never had a girlfriend? I've Googled this before. Did Tim Scott ever get married? That's crazy. He did. Remember how he just like didn't have a girlfriend, then one day he got one, and okay, they are married. They got married in August. Okay, good for you, Tim Scott. I hope it's going great.
Let me just say, for the average person in the country, President Trump loves you. You can tell that because this executive order is great news for employees, for independent contractors, and for small businesses. I ran a small insurance agency. The one thing that was very difficult for me to do was to provide a 401k plan for my employees. Why? It is expensive, the liability is high, and you're just not an expert. Thank God Almighty that President Trump understands the pain and the misery of employees and independent contractors and small businesses too.
Yeah. It's an executive order. It doesn't do anything. It just is just out here. Thank God for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and those Trump
as they play him
accounts
off.
are something great too, you know, giving money to infants. But I always tell my followers, first step on becoming a millionaire is your retirement account. Save the money.
Yes.
Senator, great to see you.
60+% of Americans have no money left over at the end of every month. Save what money? Maybe lower prices. They could do that. Then we have this same guy talking about the economy. I guess this was a little earlier. Listen to him spin the economy. Every time you see a Tim Scott video, you're going to see this. You're going to see community notes.
The fact of the matter is that all of the cylinders are kicking. It is good news. You can even feel in our environment how good things are getting. Gas prices continue to come.
You feel it. Things are so fucking good that you just walk outside and you feel the goodness of our economic environment. It's so good that you can physically feel it. Isn't it amazing, guys? Isn't this awesome? Praise Jesus. Praise Donald. Amy said Trump is notorious for not paying those who do work for him. That's true. Also, if Iran is so desperate, then why are they the ones not showing up to negotiations and Trump keeps tacoing? Could be because they're not. Cerebral Pugilist says, Gary, is that all it takes for you to ignore the pedophilia and destruction of our economy perpetrated by this administration? I believe that probably the pedophilia and destruction of our economy are a feature and not a bug to Gary, because anything Trump does is good.
Even feel in our environment how good things are getting. Gas prices continue to come down, which means that...
Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what, Tim? What'd you say there, Tim Scott? Gas prices continue to come down? He said that. Swear to God, he said it.
Continue to come down, which means that your groceries will come down a little bit as well. We've got a lot of good signs in the economy.
Gas price went up 7 cents overnight. It is at multi-year highs, to use their terms. What is he talking about? Why is nobody stopping him? Why are we North Korea all of a sudden? Do you know that Trump is, if you get a passport in Washington now, DC area, you can get Trump, you can get a special Trump edition that has his picture on it with like a gold signature. Why are we North Korea? Stock market looks great. Yeah, nobody cares.
Need to continue to execute and have
still down from when Pam Bondi said that we were at all-time highs, though, right? So we can't talk. We can still talk about other things until the Dow gets to 50,000.
confidence in the choices the American people have made by making President Trump their president and keeping majorities, Republican majorities, in both the House and the Senate. That's great.
Phoenix said, I used to think the economy was not helping the lower class, but then I remembered Tanzania isn't doing too well, and that fixed everything. How did I miss that one? I didn't have money, but then I remembered that there were people starving in Tanzania. Now I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm killing it. All right. How did I miss that one earlier? Okay. Let's go. I want to do this. I wanted to introduce this. This is going to be our next movie night show. And I may just jump the gun here. We may do like a weekend members only event and watch Ben McKenzie's documentary called Everyone is Lying to You. You may remember Ben McKenzie if you watched The OC, which was, I don't care what anybody says, it was great. I still wish I was driving down the 101 But Ben McKenzie put together a documentary called "Everyone's Lying to You" for money. It's about the crypto industry and how it's just one giant fucking scam, and we're probably going to watch that.
What is money?
Love this question.
You spell it out wonderfully in the book and in the documentary, but I mean, isn't all of this a little bit bullshit? We're all just kind of agreeing on this paper? So what is it?
So money's made up.
Right.
It's all made up. It's all fake. It's all real. So it's a social construct, just like government or religion.
Right.
And it's only as strong as the social consensus that underlies it.
Right.
And obviously at this moment in history in America, the social consensus is quite fragile, which has given crypto, quite a lot of room and latitude to sort of infect the public, if you will, or a small segment of it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's all made up. Now, the distinction here between crypto and our money, our dollar, is that if money is made up, what is it? It's trust.
Right.
You take a dollar from me, not because you trust me, but because you trust that you can use that dollar for what you want to use.
Yeah.
Crypto says we can replace all of that pesky human interaction with computer code.
Right.
All you have to do is trust the code. Well, that's a lie. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what money is and the social construct nature of it. To give you a specific...
If you don't know, just briefly what he's saying, crypto was just made up. And they made blockchain technology, and they made up fake coins. They're not even real coins. Somebody needs to tell Donald Trump that they're not real coins. And then they allowed you to pay in it. It's no different than you and I deciding that we're going to use marbles as currency. The only way those marbles work as currency is if we decide that those marbles have value, and then they are widely accepted. The problem with cryptocurrency is that cryptocurrency then, rather than being stable and being used simply as currency, became bastardized by people who wanted to come in and make a bunch of money by trading currency. So they created other currencies, and then they learned that they could manipulate the markets, that they could raise and lower the value of coins, especially if you outside of Bitcoin, which is harder to manipulate. But if you go down to smaller coins, Dogecoin, for example, any of these shit meme coins, people figured out really quick that you could scam billions of dollars very quickly. You can't do that with the US dollar, right? It's pretty hard to scam people with the US dollar. You can manipulate our currency if you have enough money, but you can't do you can't do it on the same level that you can with cryptocurrency. So I think it was a good idea, honestly. I don't think it's that different than something like PayPal or Cash App or Venmo. Effectively, if we're using it as a currency, there's no real difference there. The only difference between Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal is that that's backed by a more stable currency. So none of us wake up if you have $100 in Cash App, and then the next morning you wake up and you have $10,000 in Cash App, and then the next morning you wake up and you have $1 in Cash App. It doesn't have that type of volatility.
Specific example, Sam Bankman-Fried, now doing 25 years in jail.
I mean, you sat down with him in maybe one of the more awkward documentary interviews I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, I appreciate that. That's high praise.
Well, I mean, it was apparent that he thought it was.
I forgot Trump said that we need to make Bitcoin in America. I forgot about that.
Be an easy.
I didn't say you can't scam the US dollar. What are you talking about? That's not what I said. I said you can't manipulate it in the same way. The value, right? You would have to, if you wanted to manipulate the currency, which you can do. I just said it's not as easy to do. People manipulate currency all the time. Scott Bessent is rich by being a currency manipulator. That's how Scott Bessent made all of his money. That's how George Soros made most of his money, by being a dirtbag who manipulates currency.
Easy, chill interview, and all of a sudden he's talking to someone that knows some shit.
Boom.
Yeah.
Ryan Atwood. That guy up.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He's now 25 years in a federal prison for fraud.
So how did he run his scam?
Yeah.
He instructed one of his employees to change a single line of code, which allowed him to borrow his customers' assets. Mm-hmm. So I can't think of a more vivid illustration of the intellectual fallacy that you can trust code. Code does not fall from the sky. People write code.
By the way, this thing that he's explaining about Sam Bankman-Fried, if you don't know who that is, Sam Bankman-Fried had a company called FTX, and then he had a separate company called Alameda Holdings. And FTX was like their crypto exchange and you put your money into that crypto exchange, you could buy, sell, and trade crypto. You could lend there were parts where you could like lend out your crypto and you got a certain return on your investment. They'd guarantee like 8% APR or something like that. And they started borrowing from the FTX fund, and then they had to change the code to make it look like they weren't borrowing. And then they started taking money from FTX that was supposed to be stationary, and they were loaning it out to Alameda. And they figured this out, and Sam Bankman-Fried went to jail. And I think he's got like, it might be a life sentence, 25 to life, I think is what it was. It's exactly what Donald Trump is doing right now with World Liberty Financial. It is to a T exactly what the Trump crypto company is doing. And in fact, they're doing it on a much larger scale than Sam Bankman-Fried. So ironically, the thing that they're talking about here was so obviously a crime that virtually everybody in Congress and every lawmaker was like, this is so bad. It took down Silicon Valley Bank. It bankrupted millions of people. Thousands of people lost life savings. And it is exactly to a T what Donald Trump is doing right now with World Liberty Financial.
Right. And in this case, he changed the code and he stole the money.
Right.
So Bitcoin is full of lies. It's full of...
No, Trump did not pardon Sam Bankman-Fried. You might be thinking of like Justin's son. Sam Bankman-Fried is still in prison.
Misinformation is full of lies. It's also full of criminals.
Right.
Jeffrey Epstein funded Bitcoin development in 2015 secretly via the MIT Media Lab.
Right.
He was a convicted sex offender. The guy who the New York Times thinks is Satoshi, Adam Back, his company Blockstream.
Satoshi is kind of what started all this.
Satoshi is like the mystical cult-like figure
Wizard
who
of
like,
Oz,
the Wizard of Oz, exactly. And so you peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, well, not to mention the way they're using the crypto. The countries that America has sanctioned are able to get around the sanctions to Trump's children through crypto. Yeah, it's money laundering. That's a good point. The other thing that World Liberty Financial is doing is almost exclusively money laundering. Like 90+% of their business is just money laundering.
And it's this guy, New York Times thinks it might be Adam Back. Adam Back's company, Blockstream, received funding from Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow, okay.
So Satoshi, potentially, getting funding from the world's most notorious pedophile. That's what we're talking about.
Is Epstein the most notorious pedophile, or did Trump pass him up on that one? Hard to tell. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. I'm called an e-beggar. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for the reminder. We are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out that gift goal each and every day would be greatly appreciated. We have Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal, as well as Super Chats. I'll read goddamn near anything you write. Then our boy here, Ben McKenzie, also went on with Mehdi Hassan on Zateo, and this will be the last clip we do. And then I'll just pick a date when we're going to watch this. It'll probably be. I'll announce it on YouTube. I'll announce it in Discord, but it'll probably just be one day I'll decide we're going to watch this, and that'll be a pop-up members only event.
What about the people who say, what the does Ben McKenzie know about crypto?
I mean, where to begin? I have an economics degree. I've spent 4 or 5 years looking at it. I've interviewed 2.
He came a long way from being a problem child in Orange County. Went on to get an economics degree, got rid of a toxic girl. I shouldn't say that shit. Didn't she die? Did Marissa die in the OC? Yeah, I forgot about it. I shouldn't say got rid of a toxic girlfriend. I forgot she died. Before I said it, I forgot she died. I just want to be clear on that. My bad. As I said, I was like, wait a minute. She was a toxic girlfriend, though. She was a problem.
Of the esteemed members of the crypto industry, formerly
both of
esteemed,
whom are in prison.
Who are now in prison.
You interviewed them at the height of their powers.
Yes.
Let's talk about one of them, the most famous one, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was the founder of FTX, a hero who was on the...
sorry for spoiling a 22-year-old show. Shut up.
Front of Forbes magazine, Fortune magazine, profiled everywhere, hanging out with prominent members of Congress. This is a clip from your now very famous interview, which everyone should remember was well before everyone hated Sam Bankman-Fried or thought he was a criminal.
How much money have you donated to things like that?
I want to say ballpark 50 to 100 million.
Wow. 50 to 100 million to pandemic.
Yeah, that's right.
How much have you donated to politicians?
So I don't remember I can get back to you on that. I don't remember the latest figure off the top.
One of the interesting things about Sam Bankman-Fried that came out in his depositions and as they went over his internal documents was how shocked Sam Bankman-Fried was at how little he had to pay politicians to get what he wanted. It was like in the emails, he was like, I went in there expecting to pay so much money. It was remarkably cheap to bribe politicians.
Like
a round number?
Ballpark. I think that, in the tens of millions is where total political contributions have been so far.
Sam, you really need to.
Okay, got it, yeah.
By the way, I'm just going to clap because I don't know if you know about my career, but I do tough interviews for a living.
Oh, I know.
So I'm very proud of the fact that I do hard interviews, and I get very upset with American media softball interviews. So I'm watching this, I'm like, why the f*** is the guy from the OC doing a tougher interview of Sam Bankman-Fried than the people on CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg, CNN?
What is going on?
Why?
Me?
Why?
You need me to do it, Ryan?
We did need you. We did need you, Ryan Atwood.
The American media. The
American media, folks.
We've been on the run. In the sun.
Incredible American media.
We slam the media every week on the show, whether it's about Gaza or Trump, but it's interesting to talk about financial journalists get a pass. And we should talk for a moment about financial and tech journalists, both of whom were taken in by this guy. And I don't know why. Did you feel like you were going to get taken in at any point?
Was I going to get taken in?
Did you get bowled over by his charisma and brilliance? Because he seems to have charmed
I'm drinking out of a mug that says fraud investigator. No.
These dudes are reading a script, says Josh Brooks. Josh Brooks, are you simping for Sam Bankman-Fried right now?
Sam Bankman-Fried is a real American hero.
These guys are clearly they're reading off of a script. Yeah, for sure. They're clearly reading off of a script. Josh, that is a dog shit take. I'm sorry. What's going on in your day? We're going to stop for a sec. Josh, what's going on in your day that you thought that was a good take? You thought that was a good thing to say right now? Come on, man. There's no way your life's that bad. You just wanted to argue? You need somebody to argue with? Guys, can you argue with Josh about something more sensible? Joshy Bear needs some attention in the chat. That was so stupid, dude.
I was not about to. No.
So why did all the financial media establishment, why did all the big why did they think this guy, he's on the front page of multiple magazines? It's clearly a scam, as you said.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it obviously varies from person to person, outlet to outlet. There are some outlets that are completely in the tank for crypto.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are crypto outlets. Are they covering the industry uncritically? There's pay to play. There's actual money being transferred there. I would obviously not use any specific examples. I don't want to be sued, but this is a known thing that happens in the industry. Then slightly above that is sort of, the finance as entertainment section, which is CNBC and places like that, which they just want a show. They want a carnival.
Yes. All right. So that's what we'll be watching next. But let's get to our members of Congress grilling the absolute most pathetic administration in history. And we're going to kick things off with the best of the best. And we're going to trigger some MAGA here because we're going to show AOC dog walking Lee Zeldin today, but she does this thing, and I know she does it on purpose, where she gentle parents, and she uses like her fundy voice, and she does it just to because if she uses that voice, they can't get mad, but they know what's coming, and they know she's mocking them, and I live for this.
From New York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, for 5 minutes for her questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Secretary Zeldin. This week is a big week.
That voice, just because we've all seen her mad, right? Like you've all seen her when she's direct and mad, and she knows that Lee Zeldin in front of him has like this binder. He's flipping the pages right now, and he's got some attacks on her, and so she's just gonna go, "Hey, Mr. Zeldin, it's good to have you here today." Just gives him that voice, and it's devastating. It's devastating to all of them. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows how to make them feel uncomfortable, and she does this voice, and I love it. It's beautiful.
In the Supreme Court and Congress regarding considerations of glyphosate. Glyphosate is the active ingredient in the herbicide Roundup, which is produced by Bayer, the multi-billion-dollar foreign chemical company that also owns Monsanto. It's used on.
She sounds like she's sick too, but like it's the speed, it's the delivery, it's everything together, and it infuriates them. It makes them so mad, but they can't react because it will look so over the top if they react angrily.
Hundreds of millions of acres of farmland in the U.S., including corn, wheat, soybeans, and even almonds. And glyphosate is even used to dry out crops before they are harvested. Correct, Administrator Zeldin?
Correct.
Thank you. Glyphosate is also...
Is it glyphosate or is it glyphosate? I like my way better. I'm going to probably still say glyphosate, but glyphosate.
Internationally recognized as likely carcinogenic to humans, with particular links to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In fact, tens of thousands of lawsuits in the United States, many issued by farmers with high exposure, have been filed against Bayer for failing to warn them about the cancer risk of exposure. Now, interestingly, Administrator Zeldin, on February 18th of this year, President Trump released an executive order to increase the production of glyphosate in the United States, correct?
Yes.
And not only did that executive order call to increase the production of glyphosate,
Oh, I hear it now. Glyphosate, not glyphosate. I am adding letters. All right, fuck. How have I not heard that? Glyphosate. My bad. That's a little embarrassing. Thank you. Asa Sophia said, tuning in for my latest drama in Trump politics. It's never-ending story full of lies, scams, drama, economic cheats, war craze. I'm appalled you guys aren't fatigued over this. I'm tired across the pond. Send my love to Jay, Jen, and the Fab Mods and RTP fam. W. Asa Sophia in the chat for the $50 on PayPal.
Also called for legal immunity for Bayer from the tens of
Honestly,
thousands.
I thought the part was like the glyphosate. I was focusing on the first, like glyphos. I didn't even hear the end of the word. I didn't know I was adding letters. I thought it was the first part that you were talking about. That's how dumb I am.
Thousands of Americans who are seeking justice in court for their toxic exposure. Now, Secretary Kennedy was here a couple of weeks ago. And when he was asked about glyphosate and the rollbacks against protections against toxic chemicals, he said that we would, quote, have to ask Lee Zeldin about that. So you're here before us today. Administrator Zeldin, have you ever participated in a meeting with Bayer where you discussed the legal or litigation issues that the company was facing?
No, I never.
This is why speaking slowly and kindly and nicely is brilliant. Because he hasn't figured out yet that she's laying a trap. He got distracted. He's trying to keep us cool. This is the beginning of a trap that she's laying.
Never did.
Okay, I have
My meeting with them was very brief, and that topic did not come up.
All right, I do. Are you aware of any outreach that they would have in your agency about this?
I could say that I directly had a brief meeting.
Okay.
But it was a brief meet and greet, and that topic did not come up.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I'd like to submit EPA visitor logs from July 7th, 2025 to the committee.
Without objection, so ordered.
And you're certain they didn't bring up anything regarding your work?
I'm telling you, 100%, absolutely. I maybe there was some brainstorming that was done before.
100%, absolutely, maybe. There's the cracks.
Of potential topics.
Are you aware of any?
That topic was not brought up.
Are you aware of anything brought up to any members of your staff or your team? Your senior team?
I am not aware of that, no.
Okay. I would like to submit to the record some internal emails from the EPA that I have.
Oh no, it's receipts.
Acquired via a Freedom of Information Act submission.
Without objection, so ordered.
We have documentation here, emails from your senior advisor for Agriculture and Rural Affairs saying that you were meeting with the Bayer CEO last year. He said in these emails that they will be bringing up some legal/judicial issues. More specifically, in this internal email in your EPA, it says that Bayer was specifically seeking to and discussing Supreme Court action. They will want an update on EPA's regulatory review. And that, interestingly, Bayer will provide a small thanks for updating the glyphosate webpage from the EPA and work on MAHA. Do you have
They expect to be updated by the EPA. They would like coordination in their lawsuit or their court case currently in front of the Supreme Court. And they'll provide a gift? Yeah, Sugar, that's correct. Ain't that some shit? Lee Zeldin is a lobbyist. He's a lobbyist for polluters. And Republicans put a lobbyist for polluters in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency, the agency that is meant to make sure that you have safe food, clean air, and clean water. And they are selling you out. Garrett, shut the fuck up. I don't know why AOC is so triggering to you. She just exposed that the EPA is taking bribes to make sure that your food and your air and your water is less safe. And you're like, that's a woman speaking out loud? No. How's it going for you, Garrett? Not well. Things are going pretty well in New York. A pretty good state. A lot of economic development currently in New York. Going pretty well. Compare it to any other state. What's wrong with New York? It's expensive. Yeah, it's because people want to live there.
Any idea what they might have been referring to in this email?
How come it's only men who are upset when AOC shows up? You fragile little bitches. Can we be honest? We know what this is. You know goddamn well that somebody like AOC would never be interested in you. And so you lie and you're like, oh, I would never be interested in somebody like AOC. Yeah, brilliant. She's everything that you that rejects you. And I get that. That's threatening to you. She looks like the enemy to you because she doesn't accept how dumb you are. She doesn't accept your patriarchal beliefs. And she like if you talked with her publicly, if you went one-on-one with her publicly, you would look stupid. And I think that this is intimidating. And men, we have this problem sometimes where when we're intimidated, we lash out and we call people stupid. But she's just smarter than you. And that's okay. She's smarter than me. That's why she's doing this. That's why I'm here on YouTube. She's there. But she's just smarter than me. And that's okay. Being a man doesn't make you smarter. In fact, statistically, probably doesn't make you smarter. Got a college degree. She went to a really good school. Now she's in Congress. The people who voted her in keep voting her in because they really like her. She's ever since she's been in Congress, she's gained more and more and more influence. She doesn't take money and bribes. She doesn't take PAC money. She doesn't take corporate money. That's why you guys have to lie about her so much. That's why you have to talk about her as a bartender. That's why you have to lie about her net worth. Just simply that she's intimidating to you. But you're going to do okay there, Garrett. Things are going to get better for you for sure, dude. Just stop being afraid of women.
First off, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's possible that the team was doing brainstorming of potential topics.
Okay.
As somebody who actually attended
Thank
the
you.
meeting.
I'm sorry, I just have 40 seconds. I'm not trying to be rude. This glyphosate update that they're referring to seems to be correlated to the EPA agency withdrawing its support for California's cancer warning on glyphosate. Now, this is important because 5 days after the EPO this year, Bayer filed their opening brief to the Supreme Court.
She's hot. She's not that smart. That's because you're stupid and you don't understand what smart looks like. That's the weird thing about what you just said. Like, where'd you go to school, dog? Maverick, where'd you go to school? What was your degree in? Did you get a scholarship there? Did you win any science competitions? You got any stars named after you? Let's compare resumes, Maverick. They're book smart with no common sense. Bitch, you misspelled common and sense. Shut the fuck up. Tony Ray said there's book smart where you can spell and do math and talk right, and then there's common sense. How'd you misspell common and sense? How'd you fuck that up? Don't call people stupid if you can't spell. College doesn't mean you're educated. No, it does mean you're educated. If you go to school and you get an education, by definition, that's education. You don't know what words mean. Anyone can go to school, not her school. Your bitch ass isn't getting into her school. Anybody could go to Harvard. No, they can't. Anybody can go to Penn. No, they can't. Anybody could go to Brown. No, they can't. Where'd she go? Was she at Penn? Where did she go? I don't remember. Boston University. Did you get into Boston University? What's the acceptance rate? Let's see. Yeah, 12%. 12% of people that apply to her school get in. 12 motherfucking percent. Well, anybody could get into Boston University. Guess not, bitch. Guess not. See how stupid you look when you try and insult her? Like, it's just because she got into a school that only 12% of people could get into. And she got in on scholarship, and then she won a science competition, and then she had a star named after her. But then she served beer to dumbasses. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Bunch of dudes who can't spell are like, she's dumb.
Citing the Trump's executive order and hinging their case on the EPA's warnings or lack thereof of glyphosate.
Bro, college doesn't have an A in it. My God, you're getting worse. Collage degree proves you are good at obedience and repeating. Yeah, if you had a degree in collages, sure.
So we have internal emails from your agency saying that Bayer wanted to thank you and your agency for removing support for California's warning because their case before the Supreme Court right now hinges on you not warning the American people and withdrawing your support on glyphosate. Do you understand?
Sorry, I cut that. I went on a rant, but for MAGA, what she's saying is that in order for these people to be able to poison your food, they needed the EPA to remove instruction and studies on the dangers of glyphosate so that they could win their Supreme Court battle. And since Lee Zeldin and the EPA acquiesced, they're like, we're going to give you a little gift.
And the conflict of interest that is before the American...
You never misspelled anything? Not common. I have not misspelled common. I haven't misspelled sense, and I haven't misspelled college. Sometimes I misspell bad or like tough words.
People right now, Mr. Secretary?
I understand.
The gentlelady's time has
expired. You mind if I respond,
Thank you.
Chairman?
The gentleman may respond.
Okay, so right now EPA is completing an assessment due in 2026. And I understand this is
due by who? There was already a study. They took it down. They gave themselves a timeline that they can extend out, saying it's due in 2026. The case is before the Supreme Court right now. The case hinges on there not being a conclusive study. That's what he's saying right now. Now he's just admitting, oh yeah, it was just a routine. So it just happened to be that this Supreme Court case was happening during the time when we've taken down the previous science and we're waiting for a new study and see what that concludes.
Very important topic for many people in this country. This review that the EPA is being conducted, my guidance to dedicated career staffers, and then we have people who've been there for 20, 30 years, is that I don't want to
It's taking a while, Secretary Zeldin, because
let me answer,
the Supreme Court is going to be making decisions this week, and Congress is voting this week on legal immunity.
Okay, but you made your point. Now I'm asking, do you mind if...
I actually heard the government efficiency was down because Robert has been busy servicing them all to completion. Thank you, Tiffany. I did not know that. It wasn't me. Said Barb Cat is here while contractors tarp my roof and windows, feeding her homemade manicotti. Please say hi. It delights her to hear it on TV. Hi, Barb Cat. It's good to see you. Donald Trump's kind of a dummy, but we love you. AOC graduated cum laude from Boston University in 2011. I know they probably don't know what cum laude is, but it means she is very smart. Well, it's spelled C-U-M, and that's where they get lost, and then they just prematurely ejaculate. And they, laude, what's laude? And then it's over.
This is an important part of this that I'm sure you also care
And I
about.
think the timing
gentleman's time
is
is
also very
expired.
important, Secretary Zeldin.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
Thank you.
That was devastating. Josh, can you explain to me why you're arguing right now instead of you don't think that's bad? That the EPA is taking kickbacks to hide studies about how glyphosate kills people? Can we take a second to get the mag in the chat out of your feelings and just tell me why that's good? Josh, you have to answer my question or I have to ban you. Okay? Can you tell me, Josh, why you're not talking about that? Okay, cool. So why are you talking about other shit, Josh? Why are you talking about AOC? Why are you talking about cataclysmic events? Why are you talking about swing voters? Why aren't you just addressing that? No, I'm not. I didn't ask you why you voted red. I'm asking you why you're talking about everything but that. I'm trying to understand you. You want attention. You ask for it every day. You're getting the attention. I know you're free to do so. I'm asking you why you're doing it. I'm not telling you you can't do it. I'm asking you why. Don't worry, Garrett. I'll get you in a second. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you agreeing with us right now that this is a problem and putting some pressure? How come it's so hard for people to agree on something being bad and putting pressure on them not to do it? God, you're such a bitch. Okay, thank you. And Garrett, what did Garrett say? You hate AOC. We hate AOC because she's a liar. He says that crossing the border illegally is not a crime. Did AOC say crossing the border is not a crime? Let's see. And then just to be clear, does that mean do you hold that standard for everybody or just AOC? You heard her say it? Okay, let's find the quote.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
But she said legal asylees, so they're not violating that because they're here legally.
1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
You don't have to do that.
The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Is that what you were talking about? Sounds like she's right there. Is there a different quote? I know you said you saw it with your own eyes. Is this the wrong one? No, you don't, Josh. Cite the statute that says you are required to. What did Tom Homan say? Even listen to how he cites this.
Legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
The Attorney General doesn't write the laws, nor does the Attorney General interpret the laws. So just because the Attorney General said something doesn't make that the law.
Okay. Zero tolerance was interpreted.
So is this what it was? Is this the thing you said she lied about? Like, again, go back to the beginning.
As the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father.
Asylum is to be taken in the nearest safe country. No, you're making that up, Josh. Cite a statute. You don't travel across the planet to seek asylum? Yeah, some people do. Cite a statute, Josh. There's no global rule on asylum. Like, you have to understand that countries are independent of each other, right? So that law couldn't even exist, Josh. The United States can't write a law that says you are required to stop at another country before you seek asylum here because the UN doesn't write laws. And the UN doesn't say that. Bud, if you say Nick Shirley one more time today, we're going to ban you until tomorrow. I'm so tired of you dick riding Nick Shirley here. It's just a fun, like, this is why we're so the UN doesn't say that, Josh. You're making that up about the UN. But even if they did, yeah, who cares? You see the picture of AOC looking real pissed off with her finger in RFK's face? Yeah, I saw that one. Will said Garrett heard it with his own eyes. Amy said, wait, they voted for a 34-time felon and are upset by a civil penalty equal to a speeding ticket? Yeah, well, they're not actually upset. They're just mad at AOC because she's smarter than them. All right, look it up, Josh. Give me a statute. I appreciate that. All right, let's get to Senator Whitehouse also grilling EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. And as we watch these clips, if you're going to disagree, if you're going to go after Whitehouse, I want you guys to defend Lee Zeldin. I want you to tell me why it upsets you more that AOC or Sheldon Whitehouse criticize Lee Zeldin, and not that Lee Zeldin is obviously taking bribes to make your air, water, and food less safe. Because it's getting old having to see you guys every day just ignore awful things that are happening to you. And you're like, I don't like the people that are pointing this out. Let me get that. Make sure I got these comments real quick. Got those, got that. Was this Brianna said? Got kicked out of the gyno yesterday. Apparently the doctor doesn't like it when you call the stirrups the open air glory hole. Jesus. Christ. I was not ready for that. Jesus Christ.
Just a friendly reminder that you can send anything and Jay will read it. So, friendly reminder.
Okay. All right. I wasn't prepared. Fuck. You win, Brianna. Holy shit. How do I transition? Here's Sheldon Whitehouse.
Colleagues around this table are closing in on election in which the Trump administration's household cost catastrophe will be central. And you have been on a polluter-funded rampage to increase Americans' costs.
Starts a little low on the volume here.
Should cost less. You are making lots of stuff cost lots more. You have raised costs for Americans. You have done so to steer their money to your big polluters. Your attack on clean energy raises costs for consumers, but it sends billions to your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors. Trump's attack on offshore wind stalled 9 cents per kilowatt hour power, contract number, no math, getting to my constituents who work in an 18-cent average kilowatt hour grid.
He's talking about wind, right? So when they cut out these wind energy project, that means that the consumer who would have paid 8 cents per kilowatt hour for wind energy now has to pay higher rates because they don't get the cheapest energy possible.
Every single day that 9 cent power was delayed, steered money from consumers' pockets into the pockets of expensive natural gas units that the clean offshore wind energy would have displaced. You will at least concede that 9 cents is less than 18 cents, will you not?
Well, 9 cents is less than 18 cents.
There you
However,
go.
in this
Thank
context,
your rampant climate denial
inaccurate.
and refusal to address climate
Your
risk
math is inaccurate.
is
Would you like to talk
driving
about it?
home insurance rates skyward, setting new records in states like Iowa, Florida, and Texas. Those costs are cascading from a home insurance crisis into a mortgage crisis, into a property values crisis. But the big winners, getting to pollute for free, are your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors. Is EPA looking at all at Florida's climate-driven insurance crisis?
All right. The question is, help me out here, MAGA. The question is the EPA looking at all at the climate-driven insurance crisis in Florida? The answer could be yes. It could be no. It could be, I don't know what you're talking about. It could be, let me explain. It could be, could you be more specific about the climate-driven insurance crisis in Florida? It could be a lot of things. What it couldn't be is this.
To be clear, everything about the 9 cents, all you want to ask me is whether 9 cents is less than 18 cents. No,
He hasn't heard a single word since Sheldon Whitehouse pointed out that wind energy was 9 cents. That was the price per kilowatt hour for wind energy. That's all he heard.
All at Florida's climate-driven insurance crisis.
So to be clear, everything about the 9 cents, all you want to ask me is whether 9 cents is less than 18 cents. No, just that I'm understanding. This is
if you don't want to answer my question, I'll move on to the...
Josh, did you get me a statute there? Did you get me a statute from the UN?
Next one.
If I'm tracking right.
Okay, so now we're going to ask a different question, which again isn't going to be about 9 cents.
All you want to know that 9 cents is less than 18 cents. You don't want to actually...
I don't like Lee because he's a Jew. I didn't know Lee Zeldin was Jewish. I don't like him because he's a fucking corrupt big oil stooge. And he doesn't answer questions, and he's kind of a fragile little bitch. That's mostly why I don't like. I was unaware that he was Jewish, but thank you for bringing that up.
You already
talked about the issue.
You already answered that. Now you're just wasting my time.
Now everything other than 9 is less than 18 is wasting your time.
Up the cost of Americans' gasoline budgets. Your own regulatory impact analysis put the net loss to consumers at $180 billion.
That sounds very anti-Semitic. My bad. I'm sorry for being anti-Semitic. I'm sorry for that. Sorry. My anti-Semitism is flowing by saying that this bitch takes bribes from big oil. My bad.
But with a minimum $580 billion.
I want to apologize to my Jewish brothers and sisters for that, for my insensitive comments about Lee Zeldin being a bitch.
Bonus for big oil at the pump. All those billions go to your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors. Those are your numbers, Mr. Zeldin. You also made it easier to pollute with soot, which will cost Americans tens of billions in added healthcare costs, all to save...
Chim chimney, this guy's a bitch. Soot. Let's make that easier. Fuck soot. It's so polluted that you can see it. Yeah, let's put more of that in the air. Let's put more of that in the air. Want to bet what he responds with when all is said and done here? Is he going to address any of this?
About $600 million in compliance costs for your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors. You stopped EPA even counting health harms in your cost-benefit analysis, didn't you?
I'm still stuck on the fact that all you're asking me so far about any of your numbers is that 9 is less than 18.
He's asked you 5 other questions since then. All you're asking me, he's asked you so many questions. In fact, he didn't even ask you about the 9 and 18 cents. That wasn't a question. That was a statement.
You want to talk about what an LCOE is?
I get the time here. I get to ask the questions. You attacked the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, potentially costing consumers $52 billion in lost energy savings, let alone the health benefits of cleaner air. But that $52 billion consumers lose will flow where? To your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors. Ditto the Solar for All funding that you attacked, trying to strip Americans of $350 million per year in expected energy savings, billions over time. Those lost savings go where? To your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors. You even set up a special...
Is this for you? Thanks, armchair conservative grandstanding. Cool. But let's say that, let's agree. He's grandstanding. He's getting a moment. I don't really care. Let's talk about the substance of this conversation. Is he right? Is Lee Zeldin putting polluters before you? Is he taking bribes so that polluters can make your air, your water, and your food less safe? We can say that it's fine if you think he's grandstanding. If you think Sheldon Whitehouse doesn't actually care about this, that's fine. I think that is a fair opinion for you to have. But do you have a problem with the fact that he is putting polluters before you and I? That's what I want to know.
polluter email address that gave polluters a drive-up window for exemptions from the Clean Air Act, helping them keep 70 polluting coal plants online. One estimate is that just 6 of those plants have already cost ratepayers an extra $230.
But I didn't ask, Armchair, I'm asking you a specific question. I understand you think he's grandstanding. What I'm asking, the substance. Does it bother you that the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is taking bribes and allowing polluters to pollute more while also, I mean, maybe you don't agree with that. Maybe you think that wind energy is not affordable, in which case, by the way, it's a reminder to all of you, you can come up here and correct any of this. If you message GenDub1, that's JENNDUBB1, same as the Venmo username up there in the corner, you can actually join the stream and you can correct any of this information. But my question, like, again, this is why we're fucked as a country. This is an obvious one. This isn't partisan shit. This is very fucking obvious. Lee Zeldin is taking bribes and making our air, water, and food less safe. And he's doing that on behalf of the big polluters. Does that bother you? All right, armchair conservative. Let's look this up, okay? So renewables cost a ton to install and maintain. Wind doesn't last long enough to pay off. I assume you mean pay for itself. Is that what you mean? Like, are you saying that it's a net loss? I want to make sure that that's looking at wind turbines. According to WeatherGuard Lightning Tech, where are they getting this information from? Let's take a look at this. Wind turbine costs how much? Are they worth it in 2026? Dan Blue, how much does wind cost in 2026? Well, that's a straightforward question. The answer is long and involved. This article answers as clearly as possible while addressing the many business, technology, and geopolitical factors, yada, yada, yada. According to the latest data from the International Renewable Energy Agency, the global weighted average total installed cost on onshore projects range from approximately $727 to $2,100 per kilowatt for 2024 commissioned assets, with a global average around 1,041 kilowatts. Based on current deployment trends, IRENA's projections indicate onshore wind installed costs stabilizing between around 850 and 1,000 kilowatts by 2026. Where's the total? In established European and North American markets, standard onshore wind projects are expected to deliver a 5 to 10% return on investment, with construction costs typically paid back within 8 to 12 years, based on standard power prices and contracts. So they do pay for themselves. And you get a 5 to 10% ROI on that. So what are you citing when you say that they don't last long enough and they don't pay for themselves? Here we're saying if you look at the overview, wind turbines generally offer a return on investment within 6 to 15 years, with a typical project lifespan of 25 years. So 6 to 15 years before it pays itself back. The lifespan of these turbines is 25 years, 5 to 10% ROI. Do you have different information? Could you point me in a different direction that says what you said, that they don't provide a positive ROI?
$30 million in cost.
They can't operate in a lot of areas? Yeah, you don't use them in areas that they can't operate. That's the point. You use them where it makes sense to use them. Same with solar. Again, like we talked about this yesterday, but there's like this binary view of energy is so fucking stupid. Solar doesn't work when it's dark and in places where there's not a lot of sun. Yeah, so don't fucking put them there. But I live in Arizona. There's 365 days out of the year. I think Arizona averages like 350 something days of sunlight. Let me look. How many days does Arizona have? It's some over 300 days. Anywhere from 330 to 350. So in Arizona, it makes a great deal of sense. In Nevada, it makes a lot of sense. In California, it makes a lot of sense. So put them out there. In places where it's windy, it makes a lot of sense. Then you store it with a battery. And in places where it doesn't work, don't put it there. But if you're going to have cheap energy, then have cheap energy. And if you have some cheap energy, that lowers the price of overall energy. That's what this whole discussion is with Sheldon Whitehouse. And what the EPA, this is why I fucking hate Lee Zeldin, and this is why I fucking hate these lobbyists, is because they have put this into your heads where you're like, oh, renewable energy doesn't work all the time, therefore we shouldn't invest in it. That is so fucking stupid. Snow tires are great. Not where I live. Snowmobiles are great. Not where I fucking live. Snow sleds are great. Not where I live. So should we just ban snowmobiles? Should we just ban snow machines in general? Should we ban snow tires? No. But they don't really work in Phoenix. Use it where it works. Make it cost effective wherever you can. Doesn't because of LCOE? What doesn't? What doesn't work because of LCOE? You're talking the levelized cost of energy, right? What are you talking about? The break even? What are you, bro? I just showed you this. The break even point is like between 6 and 15 years. And the lifespan of a wind turbine's 25 years. This is stupid. This is a weird argument you're making. We already just showed you that. If it takes 6 to 15 years to provide a return on investment, and the lifespan is 25 years, do the math. Weird, I live in Phoenix, considering the water crisis it's in. Seems you don't believe the fake scare. No, we have a severe water crisis in Phoenix. Are you saying I should just move? Like, if I believe that climate change is real, then I should move? That's a weird argument.
In less than 1 year. And indeed, one plant in Michigan has already cost Michiganders $600 million in
What do you mean I'm talking ROI, return on investment. The levelized cost of energy represents the average net present cost of electricity generation for a power plant over its lifetime. How would you get the net cost of electricity generation? Break even? Yeah, wait, hold on. All right, so the break even point is the price per unit of energy, right? Are we on the same page there, armchair conservative? The break even, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but that's what we're saying, right? The price of energy, so that's $1 per kilowatt hour, or you could do megawatt hour, right? The average dollar amount per kilowatt hour is 9 cents on wind. And the way that you get that 9 cents is you take the cost of the electricity generation over time, right? And over time would be 25 years. The break-even point is somewhere between 6 and 15 years. The total lifespan is 25 years. So I'm looking at a return on that investment or a return after the break-even point, right? It seems like we're saying the same thing. Anything profitable will be done. Well, wind energy is profitable, but it doesn't make near as much profit as the oil industry. And the oil industry, if you have wind energy and solar energy, it cuts into the profits of oil companies. That's the whole point of Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin is trying to remove energy, like cheaper energy generation, because that cuts into the profits of the oil companies. What am I missing there? Sorry, I'm looking for you. It was who was it again? It was like armchair conservative. Break even is not profit for growth. What are you talking about? How much oil is used to make and maintain the fucking turbines? Maverick. My friend, in order to get to the levelized cost of energy, in order to determine whether or not you have a return on investment, you take into account the maintenance, the production of a wind turbine. So yes, oil can be used in the production and maintenance of a turbine, and that is already included in the price per kilowatt hour. Stay out of the binary. Stop. You're just like rooting for oil. Well, you can't have energy without oil. Cool, but we can still have cheaper energy, and you can use oil to create cheaper energy. Yes, exploration for new sites, negotiating with local communities, meetings with boards, state and local regs, EIS, tons of studies. There are a lot of non-billable hours. Why is that not billable? I don't know what you is oil used to maintain wind turbines? I don't even know. Typical utility scale wind turbine requires 80 to 120 gallons of synthetic oil, gear oil to operate. This oil is replaced or replenished roughly once a year, every 9 to 16 months. How much does it cost? How much is 120 gallons of gear oil? Between $1,200 and $2,400. Yeah, so that's relatively low. Okay, and that's already factored into the cost. Look up. Now we're on birds. Now we're on. Okay, so you've abandoned the conversation. Got it. All right, we'll get back to this.
Excess health costs. That is money out of consumers' pockets and into the pockets of your fossil fuel polluters, Trump's big donors.
Can we talk about your math yet?
Are you even tracking the consumer
He still wants to talk about the math.
cost of those coal plants?
We're going to get to talk about math.
Are you even tracking the consumer costs of those coal plants?
Oh, no, oh, this is great. So I don't even know where to start with all of the messed up
Answer
math.
that question. Are you even tracking the consumer costs of those coal plants?
And costs are going down across the country when you look at EPA's
Where
impacts.
are you tracking the consumer costs of those coal plants?
When you look at...
By the way, the levelized cost, which Armchair Conservative brought up, the levelized cost per kilowatt hour on wind energy is less than 5 cents. That's pretty good.
Are you kidding me? The coal plants even staying open? You think that the math is it's better for West Virginia if you close down their coal plants and put these people out of work and tell them to learn to code? According to
Learn to code is like a 15-year-old. It was this dumb thing where like I don't remember who said learn to code, but it was some politician that when they were asked about manufacturing jobs leaving, they were like, you should learn to code. He never made any of these arguments. He was just making the argument that wind energy was cheaper. And now he's like, so you're saying that you should close down coal mines? No, that's not what he said.
In your mind, that's saving West Virginia?
Is raising costs.
Is it saving them on energy access?
We know it's raising costs.
Is it saving them on jobs?
You can talk across me all you like. You are raising costs.
Raising costs.
You're raising costs on purpose because the money that you get when you raise costs from consumers goes to Trump's big fossil fuel donors.
We don't close down
My
coal.
time is up.
He sucks.
Mr. Zeldin,
Lee Zeldin sucks so bad. So bad. We aren't going to continue to prop up an industry based on a fucking guilt trip. A coal? What? Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? I think so. Okay. That's a good point. RC learn to code while AI is starting. But also nobody said learn to code. That trope's been like, that was like 12 years ago. I think it was I think it was when Romney was running. I don't remember. Does anybody remember who was learn to code? Remember who said it? Remember who said it first. In 2019, it was weaponized by online trolls. Oh, was it Biden? Was it Biden that said it in 2020? I don't know. Somebody can tell me if you got a quote for it. Okay. Let's move. I'm going to skip a couple of these. I'm going to go down to 11 because I want to get to Pete Hegseth, who had a brutal day in front of Congress, too. Sorry if you guys hate these congressional hearings. This is what I live for, so that's what we're watching today. Here's Pete Hegseth now with Oh, this is Pat Ryan, Democrat from New York.
Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Head wounds, heavy bleeding, and then just shrapnel all over. So folks are bleeding.
Sorry, real quick. It wasn't me. Said Josh has Lee Zeldin's taint breath. Jeez. Jacob says fuck MAGA and fuck Trump. Don't actually fuck them though, because they keep coming around. It's kind of like don't feed the animals. You don't want to do that. They'll never leave you alone. Just a bit of friendly advice there. Asa Sophia said Iceland is in the top countries to use less oil as energy. Summary of energy mix total primary 65% geothermal, 20% hydropower, 10% fossil fuels. Electricity sector 70% hydropower, 27% geothermal. We have a lot of green renewable energy. Shout out Iceland.
Bleeding from their abdomen, bleeding from arms, bleeding from legs. Secretary Hegseth, Mr. Chairman, head wounds, heavy bleeding, and then just shrapnel all over. So folks are bleeding.
I can't wait for this POS to get dry docked in cell block 4. Come on, midterms. Jesus, Brent.
From their abdomen, bleeding from arms, bleeding from legs. Secretary Hegseth, do you know who said that?
I'm not sure I do.
It was one of our soldiers describing the devastating Iranian drone strike at Port Shuaibah, March 1st in Kuwait. As you know, 6 of our soldiers killed, over 30 wounded. Secretary, do you know the range of the Shahed 136 one-way attack?
That's who it was, Tiff. Thank you. It was Bloomberg. It was from like 2012. That's who it was. Thank you. I think Biden's been attributed with it too, but it was Bloomberg.
Approximately.
It depends on the variant, but it's got serious distance.
Several hundred miles. Do you know how far Port Shuaibah is from Iran?
There's a reason why we took extreme measures of force protection, because we understood the proximity challenges.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to reclaim my time. It's well under 100
Is
miles.
it frustrating for any of your Republicans that they refuse to answer any questions? Does it bother you at all that Pete Hegseth is such a bitch that he won't answer a single fucking question? What's he so afraid of?
Before the war started, there was clear intelligence that Shuaibah was high on Iran's target list. Internal analysis had said the site was indefensible from aerial attack and should not be used. Yet you sent our soldiers from the 103rd Sustainment Command there anyway. Is that true or false? True or false? Straightforward question.
Are you going to give me a chance to answer or just play gotcha?
Did you send them there or not?
We took proactive measures from the beginning to ensure force protection and defensive posture were maximized across the theater.
Let's talk about what defenses they had. Prior to the attack, officers on the ground knew our troops were vulnerable. In fact, they requested additional force protection. Did they receive it?
Wherever humanly possible, force protection and counter UAS was always made available.
They did.
You guys remember Benghazi? Can you hold Pete Hegseth to the same standard that you held Hillary Clinton to? Let me be clear, like, if this was Hillary Clinton, this would be the only story. Our own soldiers are reporting that they knew they were in danger, that they asked for protection, and they did not get that protection, and American soldiers died. We're just going to side with Pete Hegseth because Team MAGA. He's incompetent. His own soldiers are publicly saying he's incompetent. And he won't own it. He doesn't own anything. We used to have secretaries of defense who would stand here and say, the buck stops with me. I own it. Not anymore. Now we got this bitch shit. And for the people that watch this and they're like, I like this, it might be your proximity to bitch shit that you're recognizing.
Not. In fact, when asked to describe the base's defense, one survivor who's come forward from the unit said, quote, I would put it in the none category. From a drone defense capability, none.
They were killed by drones. We had no drone defense capability. I would put it in the none category. These are our soldiers. Whatever you think about Pete Hegseth, whatever you think about politics, our soldiers don't feel safe and they're dying. And what are we doing there? For what reason? Why are they losing their lives?
So let's be clear, no counter-drone capabilities, no counter-rocket systems, no counter-mortar or counter-artillery.
Maverick, I'd like to hear Hegseth explain without being interrupted too, but let's be honest. Let's take his next answer. You have to admit that when they ask him a question, he doesn't answer it. This is like a comprehension problem, I think, that maybe you have. Let's agree. The next time it's Hegseth's chance to speak, let's ask the question, and then you and I can decide if he's answering the question or if he's talking. What I've seen, and we're going to watch a lot of this, is every time he's asked a question, he goes, "What about Joe Biden?"
Not even the basic overhead protection that you and I had 20 years ago in Iraq, and now 6 of our soldiers are dead. The next day, you downplayed the attack. You said it was a squirter that squeaked through fortified.
Come on. Sorry. I'm literally updating the number to 169. And come on.
The attack. You said it was a squirter that squeaked through fortified defenses. But since then, thankfully, brave survivors have come forward to set the record straight. One of our surviving soldiers told CBS, quote, "Painting a picture that one squeaked through is a falsehood." Another said the unit was, quote, "unprepared to provide any defense for itself. It was not a fortified position." Another survivor said the building's protection was about as weak as one gets. Secretary Hegseth, that is obviously in direct contradiction to what you said from the Pentagon podium the next day. So are you saying that these soldiers, our soldiers?
Yeah, it's more than one soldier. Yeah, I agree. These are individuals that are saying this. So when I say this is a soldier, these are individual quotes from individual soldiers, but it's multiple soldiers.
Soldiers who survived this horrific attack are lying?
What I'm saying is before the commencement of the conflict, we put in maximum defense.
All right, real quick. So let's go back to this. Let's make sure we get the answer here. Like we said, we're going to see what the question is. And you're upset that Maverick, that he's not being allowed to answer the question. So let's get the question here and let's see if he answers it.
To what you said from the Pentagon podium the next day. So are you saying that these soldiers, our soldiers who survived this horrific attack are lying?
Okay, so the argument here is that he says they were given all the protections they possibly could get. He just read multiple quotes from our own soldiers saying there was no protection. We asked for protection. We didn't get the protection. There was no protection from drones. So he's just asking, you're saying that they had all the protection that they could get. They're saying that they didn't. Are they lying? Are we good? Are we good in this, Maverick? Are we clear that that's what he's asking? Now let's see if Pete Hegseth answers the question of, are they lying? Are you saying they're lying?
What I'm saying is before the commencement of the conflict, we put in maximum defensive posture we could.
That's a direct
we moved
contradiction
70
to what they said.
in this directing. Can I speak, or are you just?
Did he answer the question? Are you saying they're lying because they contradict what you said? He just said we put in maximum defensive procedures. They said that you didn't.
A monologue falsehoods all over the place.
It's not a falsehood.
Ooh, now how about this, Maverick? He just said, are you going to monologue falsehoods? He was reading direct quotes from soldiers, right? So if Pete Hegseth is saying, are you going to monologue falsehoods, what is he calling a falsehood? So far he hasn't answered the question. I'm with you there. Give him some chance. Now what's he saying, Maverick? What are the falsehoods? What are these monologued falsehoods? Those were direct quotes from soldiers. So now it does seem like are we right, Maverick? Did he just call the soldiers liars? Did he accidentally just answer the question that he's calling the soldiers' testimony lies? No. The question was, are you calling them liars? See, this is the problem. You got to stay on topic, Maverick. Drop your partisan bullshit What does he mean by maximum defense? That wasn't the answer to the question. The question was, are you calling them liars? It seems like he just admitted that he's calling them liars, right? You want him to explain whatever he wants to explain, but let's be honest about this interaction. He's asked a specific question, and he just called U.S. soldiers liars. He just said that what was monologued before him were falsehoods, and that's the testimony of soldiers. So yes, he's calling them liars. Correct, Maverick?
Move 7,500 troops off of the X based on the intel.
Stop.
Based on the intel.
Stop. Reclaiming my time.
Because you yell doesn't make you right. Just because you yell doesn't make you right.
I'm reclaiming my time on behalf of these survivors. You just said what they said is a falsehood.
There's a much larger picture. True? There's a much larger picture at play.
Again, the question, did you just say it was a falsehood? Is he answering this question, Maverick?
Here that included integrated air defenses, bunkers, moving people off the X to ensure that they were not part of the target. We moved those troops and all across the theater, thousands of troops off the X, off of their bases, because we knew what Iran was going to try to strike, and we knew there could be a tragic moment. There could be a tragic moment where something could get through. Of course, that's the consequence of conflict. And
is he answering the question, Maverick, of if he's calling them liars? Not really, right? But he did call them liars, didn't he?
Remember those 6 every single day.
I want to finish.
But don't play games with.
I'm not playing games. I want to finish with one more quote from a survivor of the attack, and I put this on the record. Telling the truth is important, and we're not going to learn from these mistakes if we pretend these mistakes didn't happen.
Hegseth's wife has never.
Secretary Hegseth, those soldiers told the truth. Those soldiers are braver than you are.
I commend them.
They are asking for accountability. They deserve accountability, and I'm asking for the same, starting with you. And as I said a year ago, you need to resign immediately.
I commend those soldiers.
I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Commend those soldiers. They said you were incompetent, bud. All right. So it didn't answer the question. Alex said for House-funded DHS and ended the shutdown. About goddamn time. I guess it wasn't Dems this whole time, was it? I guess it was Republicans the whole time. Yeah. See how, isn't that weird how that makes you upset, JC? You're mad at me because Pete Hegseth's lying.
It makes me mad when you point that out.
What do you mean he's not calling them liars directly? He just said that their quotes were lies. That's what he just said. He didn't name them by name. He just said that all their quotes were lies. That's pretty direct, if you ask me. All right. Here was Rep. Deluzio. Same subject. Like Pete Hegseth got multiple times to clear this up. It wasn't just that time. Here's a Representative Deluzio.
Chairman, we all just heard pretty powerful reporting.
I am biased, Jaizy, but that doesn't mean that Pete Hegseth didn't call them liars.
Courtesy of Mr. Ryan, from many of our wounded troops who were injured in the attack in Kuwait. Mr. Secretary, you heard direct quotes from some of them via CBS's reporting. They were willing to talk to the press. Things like they were unprepared to provide any defense for themselves in the unit. Things like we were moved closer to Iran to a deeply unsafe area that was a known target. Your spokesperson, Sean Parnell, in response to that reporting, said it was not true. Do you agree with that? He was calling these guys.
Yes, he said the guy monologued falsehoods. He was reading direct quotes, Maverick. So if he's monologuing falsehoods, the thing that he is monologuing is direct quotes from the soldiers. Come on, be honest here. Don't keep doing this shit. If he's quoting soldiers and you say that what your monologue was falsehoods, saying the soldiers lied.
Guys liars?
I'm not calling our troops liars, and I don't know if what you're representing is correct or not. I'll take you at your word on that. But all I know is that we took every effort possible at the commencement of this campaign to ensure the defense of our troops, to include moving them off of known bases to places that were not known, and we had intel.
Okay, so this is good. Now that he directly answers the question, and they let him answer the question. He's like, I don't know. Now he's just saying, I disagree with them. So that's good.
Good, Secretary.
And then those were fortified with bunkers and other fortifications with theater air defenses. Was our concern that something could
I'm going to pause you there. I'm going to give you a chance.
Absolutely.
Secretary, I'm going to give you a chance.
You're disparaging me that I don't care.
I'm asking you whether you think they're liars or not. That's what I asked you.
You are disparaging me that I don't care about the passing of our troops.
Oh, your big feelings. You guys all saying that I don't care enough. I got to get mad.
Nope. I asked if you thought they're liars, Secretary.
That's disparaging and smearing in every way. Nobody cares more about the fate of our troops.
Whiny ass
Nobody
bitch.
cares about the health of our troops.
Mr. Secretary,
Nobody wants to bring them all hope more than I do.
I understand, but he controls the time.
But they're being mean to me. I'm mad at them.
Looking at the principal, it's not fair. This is what happens when you hire a weekend Fox News host to be the Secretary of Defense. Good Lord, he's caking on that makeup, by the way. That shit is caked on. They're not even blending it very well anymore. Look at that. That is caked. A lot of gender-affirming care from our Secretary of Defense there. He got enough on there that he's changing his appearance. Is that drag? Is there enough makeup there for him to be considered drag? I don't know the rules there. That is a lot of makeup, though.
He controls the time. You get to control your answer. And the gentleman's recognized.
If we're allowed to answer.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Secretary, my question was clear, whether you thought they were liars or not. You don't seem to want to answer it. We can move on. The other part of what your spokesman said, and you just reiterated here, was that, and I'm quoting your spokesman, every possible measure has been taken to safeguard our troops.
That's a good point. You do need to use that makeup broom to make it cost effective. That's a good point.
You mean to tell us, and I'll give you a chance to clarify, there is not a single additional thing you could have done to protect those troops who are now wounded, 6 of whom are dead.
I'm telling you that as a department.
Okay, he's asking, are you saying there's not a single thing you could have done more? Is he going to answer this question, Maverick? Are you saying there wasn't a single thing you could do more?
I'm telling you that as a department, we did every conceivable thing at my level and every echelon down to ensure the maximum force protection for our troops. We live in a dangerous world, in a dangerous place.
Okay, so then just your troops on the ground disagree. The people experiencing it disagree with you then, right?
Against a determined enemy that can't have a nuclear weapon, and that requires sacrifice and risk. And it tragically, in this case, it meant 6 Americans lost their lives and others were wounded. And we all know that. And that's part of the cost. But it does not mean we didn't care, and it doesn't mean we didn't commit.
I didn't ask you that.
It doesn't mean we
I'm
didn't
not
do
saying
everything.
Yeah, nobody asked about your feelings, bud. They asked if you could have done more. You hysterical little bitch. Good Lord, this guy is thin-skinned.
Possible, which we did.
But let's be clear about what was done. There were T-walls there, essentially. There was no overhead protection. The known threat in that environment, and I think we all here understand it, is overhead drone strike. There was no protection for overhead drone strike. So I'm struggling to understand how your answer and your spokesman's answer is that every possible measure was taken. We can move on. Mr. Chairman, and Chairman Kane, I want to ask you something on a different topic.
How can zero protection from overhead drone strikes be everything you can do? I didn't serve in the military. Is there anybody here that did serve that understands overhead? If you have no protection for overhead drone strikes, how is that the most you could do? Just off the top of my head, I was thinking like maybe you could move people underground or to a place where you have protection from overhead drone strikes. Those are two things I could think about. How could it be you did everything by doing nothing? That doesn't sound right.
Folks at home know you're the senior military officer in our armed services. They may not have as much of understanding of your role in the chain of command. You're outside the operation.
I appreciate that, Maverick. I don't know why they wouldn't think about drones. There we go. That's the thing. Like when we can get past the partisan bullshit and when we can get past like everything being about Trump, it's pretty fucking clear that Pete Hegseth is not qualified to do this job and that he's hysterical and that he cares more about, his makeup and the way that he looks and the physical makeup of the military than he does actually doing a good job. He's a hindrance to the military. He gets in the way. He wasn't qualified. He's not very well respected, and he doesn't take accountability. Those are all bad qualities of a leader. I'm not qualified to be on YouTube. Wrong, bitch. Look at me. I'm on YouTube. Amy said if they cared, they wouldn't have sent him. They wouldn't have sent them for no reason. True. Can't blame Hegseth for that necessarily, but Hegseth does agree with it. So
Chain of command, but you are the presidents and the secretaries.
We build sandbag bunkers around the base and/or camp. Does that stop overhead drones though?
Senior military advisor. So I want to ask a very basic thing, what you would expect our commanders in the field, our troops to do should the enemy lay down their weapons and try to surrender. What would you expect commanders in the field to do?
Well, sir, I think I'll go back to something I said earlier with deep respect for your question, but I think you're trying to take me to a partisan place here, and I can't let you do that.
General, as always, I respect your
no, sir,
desire
just,
to avoid it. I'm not
yes,
trying
sir.
to put you in a partisan place.
and I know that, but our officers and enlisted service members always follow lawful orders. There's a checklist for them to do that, and I'll stay in the
Very
middle.
good.
I don't know why that's partisan. To be clear, like telling the military that they should reject unlawful orders, I don't know why that's partisan. Can anybody explain to me how that's partisan?
Understood, General. Secretary, let me give you a chance. And you've been asked about this earlier. You said in, I think, your press conference, essentially, and I'll quote you here, no quarter, no mercy for our enemies. That's the end of the quote.
What does that mean? Give you guys a chance. How do you interpret that? No quarter, no mercy for our enemies. No quarter. What a quarter? Where's my military people? What does it mean, no quarter? Sauce, you're crashing out, bud. Relax. Where's my military people? What does it mean when you say no quarter? No quarter means like you're not giving them a place to stay, right? Not giving them an environment, whether it be like even like an internment camp, right? Providing living. Yeah. So what does that mean? No safe harbor. Yeah, Sully. Thank you. Shelter, housing. And then no mercy. Ooh. No mercy? None?
Is your guidance that you expect our troops in harm's way, if there's a foreign enemy surrendering, laying down their arms, they're supposed to provide no quarter and kill them?
Okay, who said that? What an awesome boss. Yeah. Do you agree with that? We should have no quarter. Is there any Republicans who like that statement? No quarter, no mercy. That we should just kill everybody. Every Iranian, we should just kill them.
You denied it, but you were indeed trying to take the chairman to a partisan place. That was General Milley. That was the.
Did he answer that question, Maverick? Did he answer that one? No. You just made it partisan, you little bitch.
Previous administration, which played politics, we don't play that
It's a
way.
simple question. I'm asking
we
what
fight
you
to
meant.
win, and we ensure the rules of engagements are such that our troops have every authority possible to.
I'll give you another chance. In saying that, are you trying to tell commanders that that's what you expect? You're in the chain of command. It's a simple question.
I understand that. My commanders know exactly what the guidance is with each and every mission, and they know every tool.
So then say no, right? That's an easy answer. Are you saying that you literally cannot show any quarter or mercy? That if somebody is deciding that they're surrendering, that you're just going to murder them? Just say no. You can just say no. Why is he so afraid to answer a question? Goddamn ever.
Secretary, in refusing to answer it, I think you speak volumes. I think that's a dangerous thing. We all know the expectations. We know the law of war. We know what is lawful. I'd expect our commanders to understand that as well. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
I agree with that, AZ Wild Bill. If you give no quarter, you must expect the same for our troops. It's just dumb. It's just tough guy shit. He loves talking hyperbolically and like he's just like the world's biggest tough guy. Meanwhile, if he gives you a hug, you got to go change your shirt because it's covered in concealer. No quarter means that we will not negotiate. Let's see what no quarter. I don't think that's what that means. Military term meaning show no mercy, specifically by refusing to take prisoners and killing enemy combatants who surrender or are incapacitated. It implies a fight to the death, historically signaling that no captives would be taken or spared. Want to take that back, Garrett?
It means that we're not going to negotiate.
No, it doesn't. Nobody thinks it means that. It implies that combatants would not be taken prisoner, but would be killed instead. So he either doesn't know what he's saying, or he meant like we're just gonna kill everybody. Which actually, like he did say, he's famous for saying "kill all Muslims." Kill all Muslims. Kind of fits like what Pete Hegseth is known for, right? All right. Is this one? Here's Representative Crow, Jason Crow. Did a good job. if you remember the name Tim Parlatore, that was Trump's attorney. I'm not 100% sure what they're getting at here, but it sounds like there is some sort of investigation now looking into Tim Parlatore. Is it Parlatore? And they clearly want Pete Hegseth on the record here. Will said, dues and fuck Garrett, fuck Maverick, and a spelling book for Josh. Thank you very much. I think I got that about the House ending the DHS shutdown. Oh, got it.
Timothy Parlatore served as your private attorney, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Parlatore also served as private attorney for President Trump's campaign, correct?
I'm not privy to every professional position that he's held.
Well, I'll help you out. He did. And you appointed Mr. Parlatore as your senior advisor, correct?
He does reserve duty on behalf of the Navy.
His title is senior advisor. You gave him that title, correct?
And I would count him as very much an advisor of mine.
Yep, he travels with you, correct?
Tim Parlatore has been a long-term friend.
He ran out. He's like, he travels with you. Yes, just yes. Nobody asked about how long you've been friends. He's so scared. Now he knows he's being walked into something. It took him a minute, and now you're going to see Pete bitch shit start backpedaling. Oh, no, I'm being led into something. I'm not going to answer questions anymore.
Patriot.
He travels with you. That's not what I asked. I reclaim my time. He travels with you, doesn't he? He travels with you, doesn't he? Correct? There's public Instagram that shows this. Just say yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay. He sits in meetings with you and advises you, doesn't he?
He sits in some meetings on occasion.
Well, he maintains a desk in an office in the Pentagon, does he not?
I'd have to check.
You don't know?
It's a big Pentagon.
You directly commissioned Mr. Parlatore in the Naval Reserve as a Navy commander in March 2020.
Hashtag kiss the homies goodnight.
25, did you not?
I was very proud to do so.
And when you did, because he's a Navy Reserve officer, he didn't have to go through the PPO process, the White House Presidential Personnel Office, right? He wasn't vetted by White House PPO.
Uniformed service members don't get vetted by
The answer is yes. He didn't have to be vetted by White House PPO. He didn't go through the Senate confirmation process either, did he? The answer is no.
I don't know what you're getting to, but Tim is a fantastic
I'll tell you what I'm getting to. The answer is no, right?
He does great work.
Okay. He didn't maintain a security clearance when you appointed him as special advisor. Is that right?
I'd have to check.
You don't know?
I mean, anybody that has access to sensitive material is going to have the appropriate clearance.
Okay, so when you appointed him as special advisor, he had a security clearance?
You're trying to piece together a timeline.
No, I'm asking a simple question. One of your special, most sensitive advisors, did he have a security clearance?
No, you're playing a gotcha game like you do on TV.
Oh, there he goes. Now he's like, oh, no. Why? He's supposed to answer questions, right? Is Maverick, you still here? Or can we all agree, 100% agreement here? He's being a little bitch now. Now he's mad.
You're trying to trick me. I'm not answering questions anymore.
You're trying to thread together details that are connected about something else.
Clearly, you're concerned about my language.
Yeah, Pete. Yeah, Pete, that's what he's doing. He's asking you questions, and now you're a little scared. So now you're crashing out.
Questioning, aren't you, Mr. Secretary?
Except this Eddie Munster grown up. Jennifer said, weekly Antifa dues. Thank you, Jennifer.
Secretary, because you know where it's going, don't you? I think you do. So, does Mr. Parlatore represent foreign governments? He has a private law practice, does he not?
From what I understand of his law practice, he does a lot of great work for service members in the military and other.
He maintains a private law practice. Does he represent foreign governments or foreign persons in that private law practice?
I don't know.
You don't know. Somebody who's sitting in your meetings, a special advisor, you don't know. Does he represent any senior officers who are currently under consideration for promotion by you or your office?
The only person that makes determinations about senior officers is me.
That wasn't the question.
Answer the question. Does he represent senior officers who are under consideration for promotion by you?
No, I'm the one that makes decisions about choosing.
Does he represent?
That wasn't the question again.
Represent them,
findings
Mr.
from your
Secretary? Does he
He
represent
doesn't
them?
represent anyone. He's a legal advisor and always has
But
been.
he has clients, does he not?
He's a legal advisor to me on reserve duty, and he always has been, and he does a fantastic
Is it
job.
true that Mr.
You're playing a
Parlatore was
losing hand,
removed?
whatever you're
I
trying to
reclaim my
play here.
time. Is it true that Mr. Parlatore was removed from an investigation by the White House last year?
I don't know what you're referring to, but not that I'm aware of.
You're not aware of it. Was it true that you were also removed from that same investigation? The answer is yes.
No, not that I'm aware of.
You're not aware of it. That's
We're gonna-
interesting. Well, is it true that Mr. Parlatore disparaged President Trump?
This is my favorite part because this goes to show the sheer cuckery of these folks. They can't say bad things about Trump, and they can't admit that their friend said a bad thing about Trump. And I don't know I don't honestly know why Jason Crow is asking this question, but watch Pete Hegseth. Watch how afraid they are to say anything about Parlatore. Jen, can you ban the words Nick and Fuentes today? We get it, bud. I don't know what Nick Fuentes won. Nobody gives a fuck.
I don't know what you're referring to, but no.
Is it true that Mr. Parlatore was accused by President Trump and his lawyers of lying?
Trump's campaign disputed his former lawyer's assertions. Mr. Parlatore is no longer a member of the legal team. His statements regarding current members of the legal team are unfounded and categorically false, according to a Trump spokesperson.
What you're accused of is a cute line of questioning that's going nowhere.
Well, it's going.
He's such a bitch. He's such a bitch. The quote was right there. Did he say this?
This is going nowhere. That's what's really true. I would never say anything bad about Donald Trump.
He's so scared. You guys are all scared of an 80-year-old dumb fuck who shits his pants every fucking day. Why are you so afraid of Donald Trump?
Somewhere, which is why you're not answering the question. Was it true that he was accused of lying by the president's legal team?
I'm not familiar to. You'd have to give me the context.
Well, it's right
of that
here.
article,
You want to look
and
at the statement from President
Anybody
Trump's
can blow
legal
up
team?
a quote and claim it says something, and that's what you're doing in a little stunt.
Secretary Hegseth, what I'm really concerned.
That's a good point. He doesn't shit his pants. He shits into his diaper. That's a good point. Thank you. I apologize. I'd like to apologize for the misinformation I spread. It could leak through to his pants, though, sometimes.
About is you purport to have unfaltering loyalty to President Trump, and yet you are continuously
Oh,
going.
you care a lot
I
about
reclaim
President
my
Trump,
time.
don't you?
You
This
are going
is a
behind
cute
his
waste
back
of your 5
and
minutes.
appointing
A
people.
huge,
I reclaim my
cute
time.
waste of your 5 minutes that
I
led
reclaim
nowhere.
my time. You are
Do not pass
repeatedly
go,
going
do not
behind the
collect
president's
Gentlemen
back.
from Colorado's
Failed.
time. Go ahead, Mr. Crow.
You are repeatedly going behind President Trump's back, appointing people who he is accused of lying, who the White House is
Gentleman's
accused of
time's
lying.
expired.
And you are not being honest with President
Gentlelady
Trump.
from South.
Yeah, Hegseth's there to ask for money. Hegseth's there to get money from Congress. And it really got under his skin when they dared to drive a wedge between him and Donald Trump. This whole hearing is amazing.
Just Mr.
We should have just
Keating.
watched
Thank
the
you,
whole
Mr.
thing.
Chairman.
But here's Representative Keating on the drug boat strikes in Venezuela. Let's leave Iran for a little bit. And remember that this same administration, this same Secretary of Defense has committed multiple war crimes long before Iran.
I want to talk briefly about the current U.S. doctrine and conduct of the administration in a particular event and a series of events, actually. As everybody in the dais and the witness table is aware, the Department of Defense Law of War Manual specifies that any order to kill shipwrecked persons in an illegal order would constitute a war crime. It isn't suggested. There's a specific example to show a clear-cut example of what this entails in our own manual. With that in mind, let's look back a few weeks ago when a fishing crew ended a long day of hard fishing, scoring a full stock of albacore and swordfish on board. Without any warning or expectation, this small Ecuadorian fishing vessel, operating about 200 nautical miles off the Galapagos Islands, was militarily engaged by U.S. forces. It was hit once, then it was hit again. Not a warning shot, not an interdiction, 2 drone strikes. Survivors described chaos and severe injuries. Our U.S. forces then handcuffed the crew at gunpoint, placed black hoods over their heads, seized and scrubbed their devices, and then held them for days. Ultimately, the crew was released, given there was no evidence to support any narco activity or any charges that may be against them. So to recap, we struck a vessel, we struck it again, set fire to it as it was sinking, and as public reports say, even drank their beer. We detained the survivors, and then we let them go. This should be eye-opening. Now let's go to another example, the double tap or two-strike attack that took place on September 2nd in the Caribbean. A vessel was struck, disabled, and then struck again, killing...
Robert, irrelevant. They're fishermen. Who fucking cares if they die? Gotcha.
All but 2 survivors that were left clinging to the wreckage. And this is the thing. We know this happened. We know how it happened. And the Defense Department still refuses to release the follow-up video of the killing of the shipwrecked survivors, even though they released the initial one to the public in major news networks worldwide. No difference in sources and methods in the 2 videos, but still not released to the public. Of course,
By the way, you know why we know this? You know why Pete Hegseth isn't fighting back on this right now? Is because these people, you and I have not seen the video, but Congress has seen the video. And Pete Hegseth and this administration refuse to release the video. Why do you think they're refusing to release the video? Because it's obviously a crime. They got shitty intelligence and they killed people over it. And they double tapped shipwrecked people. That's why.
Backlash was severe at the time and perhaps is being forgotten. An unpredictable but ignoble display of character from this administration. Fingers were pointed at one another as everyone scurried.
It happens. It's life. Sometimes you go out fishing and the U.S. government just drone strikes you, puts hoods over your head. Get over it. That's the MAGA response. It happens. Don't hold anybody accountable ever.
To cover, and a tacit acknowledgement that this was an issue potentially violating international law. Now, I've reviewed what's been available, the phony rationale that these attacks are about fentanyl trafficking, when we know fentanyl comes from China.
Yeah, but they're not criminals. They were fishermen. That's the problem, Peter. I know you just got here. This was a fishing boat. There were fish on board. There were no drugs on board. They got the intelligence wrong. And by the way, we're not allowed to blow up drug boats in international waters. Drug boats that were never going to make it to the United States. We're not allowed to do that either. All of these are illegal. We shouldn't be blowing up the drug boats. But if we're going to blow up drug boats, we better get it right. We better not be blowing up fishing boats.
Yeah, through Mexico. Then the baseless argument that this was about narco terrorism.
Says who? You think we can just blow up boats in international waters? Think we have the right to do that?
If the boat was blown up, how you know they didn't sink to the bottom?
Because we have video. There's video. But if we're blowing up boats and there's no drugs, then that's not due process. Then we're just taking guesses and killing people.
You know, I don't believe a word of it. This was to create leverage for regime change in Venezuela.
Yeah, good question. P for personality. We lowered the death rates of fentanyl, illegal terrorism. I can look up statistics, but murder rates are at a 50-year low. Let's talk about that. The fentanyl death rate hit all-time lows under Joe Biden before we started doing this. Same with the murder rate. And they have continued on that path. But they were already... a lot of MAGA doesn't know this, but you can look this up. Like, if you want to look at the murder rate in the United States... You wouldn't know this if you just listened to Trump or to Republicans when Democrats are in office. But if we pull up these numbers, is this going to have it? See if I can let me go to images, see if I can find one. Let's just look at violent crime. You can go to Wikipedia, but it'll give us the source here. The source is the CDE. This is violent crime. A lot of us were alive in the early 90s. I was pretty young. Would you be surprised to know that we are significantly less violent now than we were in the early 90s? This is where I was in high school. We're significantly less violent than when I was in high school. What video? Who saw the video? Members of Congress saw the video. The Pentagon won't release it. Classified still for some reason. Would you be surprised to know that, MAGA? This right here. We're at historic lows, and Trump was campaigning on, oh my God, violent crime is out of control. We saw the first video, Jackie. Yeah, it's the second video. It's the double tap that they won't show us. We look at like fentanyl deaths by year. Do we have the 2025 numbers? Looks like 2020 was the largest single jump of murder rates in the last century. Yeah, when Trump was president. That was COVID. When people get more poor, you tend to see crime rates go up. Look, if we just look at like regular drug overdoses, they went up and then they've been on their way down. They started going down August 2023. By the time Trump took office in January of 2025, we had seen a significant decline in drug overdoses. They were on their way down. So it's true. You can say that like we're hitting historic lows, but if you're going to tell the whole story, you have to say that, oh, we were trending in that direction already. Amy Lynn said, when Trump shut down the U.S., we got more violent. Yeah, I mean, anytime we get more poor, we get more violent. Murder and violent crime rate per capita by state is the highest in red states. Why? Because they're the libs. It's the libs, Amy. I love that I'm showing you stats and you're saying delusional. That is peak MAGA right now. Here's the stats in front of your face. You're delusional. That doesn't jive with what Donald Trump says. You must be the crazy one. Yeah, it's for sure me.
And now the president acknowledged that was about oil. Beyond the simple need for justice and exercising American values, it's important for us to discuss what the U.S. belligerence in the world stage means to our security, our ability to marshal cooperation with our allies, and most importantly, not to normalize these actions that could endanger the lives of our own service members put in similar peril. Let me be clear about one thing. Whether it's these particular strikes discussed here, the one that killed 11 others off the coast of Venezuela, whether it's the 178 other killings, with each
Trump
of the
said every blown up saved 25,000 lives. Yeah, remember when Pam Bondi said Trump had saved 300 million lives in the last year?
These extrajudicial
or was it 400 million? I think she might have said 400 million.
Killings, the administration is pirating American values. We'll continue to investigate this. We will. It'll come forward in the future. Some days that second video will be released. But we've got to stop also using our precious resources that are being taxed so heavily all over the world on actions that hurt our military. They hurt our military and they hurt our standing internationally, and they're hurting our standard here at home. I hope that we can move forward. I hope we can review whether these are justified, because I found no justification.
All right, we'll leave that there. I just wanted to talk about those boats real quick. Somebody said Elizabeth Warren also dusted Hegseth. I haven't seen it yet, so we're going to pull it up. But I've got one more here. Senator, or is it Senator? Is she Senator? Shaheen? I can't remember. Is that Congress or Senator? Don't remember. Last one here, and then we'll get to Elizabeth Warren. Go ahead and save all your Pocahontas jokes. They're coming. But actually, I'm gonna skip this one. This is about Ukraine. I want to get to Elizabeth Warren because I think this is important.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Americans are paying a high price for Donald Trump's war with Iran. We've got 14 service members who are dead, over 400 more who are wounded. Prices are rising for nearly every American family.
Just real quick before we go, we got about 50 minutes left. I do have a hard cutoff today. Thank you guys so much for being generous with the gift goal today. We've got about 140 left. You can help us knock that out with PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, or Super Chats, and I'll read damn near anything that you say. Back to Elizabeth Warren.
But someone is profiting off Trump's war. Insiders who know what's going on and who place bets.
Daniel said Congress's authority to investigate does not exist in the Constitution. The authority only exists in SCOTUS' opinion. There's nothing stopping SCOTUS from transferring that authority to the DOJ, and then none of this ever gets investigated. It's just congressional hearings, right? I think what you're saying is like it doesn't exist like they can submit a criminal referral, but they can't actually conduct an investigation where the outcome is criminal charges. I think that's what you're saying.
On that inside information. On March 23rd, just 14 minutes before Trump unexpectedly posted about, quote, very good conversations on ending the war, traders suddenly bet $500 million on the price of oil, which, once Trump made his announcement, immediately dropped. It happened again on April 7th, and then again on April 21st, a surge in oil bets, then a Trump post, and then a huge shift in oil prices in just the space of minutes. It looks like insiders have been making out like bandits, using secret information about the war. Now, one U.S. soldier has been charged, but that was for betting on capturing Maduro months ago. Not a single person has been charged.
Remember that there was one person that was involved in the capture of Maduro that bet I think they bet like $33,000 that he would be captured before a certain date, and he wound up making like $400,000. So cool.
In the many, many, many trades over the Middle East war. So Secretary Hegseth, do you...
Amber said, Iran's supreme leader vowed today in a defiant tone to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities. Apparently, they do not care what Trump wants. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Trump just needs to admit that he lost and walk away. He'll never do it. That's what sucks. We're just going to keep fighting this war because Trump has a fucking ego. But this is Vietnam all over again. It's unwinnable. Unless we're going to try and take over the whole country. And then why are we doing that? Just for Trump's ego? We just need to walk away from this one and take the L. And yeah, it's going to fuck the Republicans for a long time. But you fucked up. If we're doing what's best for the country, it's time to step away.
Have any explanation for
that guy bet on his own team? Well, he bet on insider information, and that's illegal.
These perfectly timed spikes in trading activity other than insider trading?
Senator, all I can tell you is that everything we've done in our department, everything we've done with information, in working with the White House and across the interagency has been completely above board.
Well, so what does it mean? Do you have...
The Pentagon, who famously can't pass an audit, who yesterday spent most of the day saying, we don't have to tell you how much shit costs, is Pete Hegseth, like we do everything above board, for sure. That's not just this Defense Department. That's every Defense Department forever. But any Secretary of Defense being like, we're completely above board. Nobody believes that shit.
Any other explanation other than insider trading? Do you have a story for why just minutes before there's an announcement, there's a surge in trading activity?
Senator, I'm more than focused on doing my job and ensuring we execute properly, which thankfully, under this administration, our troops have done incredible things in all these missions. My job in all of those moments is to make sure we're prepared. And that's part of the reason why we've been so successful in these raids, in these efforts, is that this joint force is prepared.
You're saying you're not paying any attention to this insider trading. Is that what you're telling me? That you've paid no attention to this? You haven't noticed it? You haven't done anything about it?
What I'm saying is we're focused on our mission of executing for the American people, and what happens.
Thank you, Blue Chew, for joining the Dollar Train.
In markets is not, in betting markets is not something we're involved in.
What happens in betting markets doesn't matter to you, even if the information may be coming from insiders in your office?
Senator, it's not something we're involved in at all. And of course, we take
insider trading is illegal for politicians too, Newsom. Can you give me an example of insider trading that anybody would disagree with? Why would you not care about insider trading if you like? Why would you only care if it's Congress, though? That's a weird thing to say. It's weird when you say that. Anytime a member of Congress does insider trading, you should care. Anytime anybody does insider trading, you should care. Why would you choose not to care about this just because somebody else got away with it? You're just excusing crime because why? That's weird.
Operational security at every level very seriously. In fact, no one's taken operational security more seriously than us. If you look at what it required to keep secret Midnight Hammer and Operation Maduro, the absolute resolve with Maduro, and
that was called Operation Absolute Resolve. That was the Maduro operation. How did I miss that? That's so stupid.
We've taken, so no one's been tighter about ensuring that operational security is ensured.
To deal with insider trading out of your office?
I mean, we would ensure at every level that inside information is
I take that as a no.
Properly safeguarded.
All right. Well, obviously you're not.
Because absolute is vodka. Good point. That's a good point.
I'm also concerned about recent reporting on your own financial dealings with regard to profiting from the...
Well, bad news, Justin. You said betting is not insider trading. Have you heard of Pete Rose? Are you familiar with the NBA betting scandal? Do you know the name Tim Donaghy? It's illegal. By the way, Kalshi and Polymarket both claim they're also not betting. They claim that they're markets. Kind of a weird thing. They go to court and they're like, you're a casino. They're like, no, we're not betting. We're markets. And then they go to court and they're like, hey, you should be treated like commodities. They're like, nah, we're a casino. They just keep going back and forth because this administration won't hold them accountable. But if you trade on insider information in betting markets, it's also illegal.
War in Iran. The Financial Times reported that your broker tried to buy hundreds of shares in a BlackRock fund invested in defense.
Wrong, Justin. Betting on insider information is illegal. That's why it wasn't just Tim Donaghy that went to jail. He was the one that was throwing the games, but the people betting on his information also were punished. It's both.
Companies just before the war began. The law clearly prohibits the Secretary...
That entire story is false, has been from the beginning, and was made up out of whole cloth. And anybody that looks at it sees how it was worded from the beginning to make it look like I was involved in something I had nothing to do and never have. So any insinuation that I've ever profited, other than serving this nation, what I give, what you give, what others give, I'm not looking for money. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for profit. I don't do it for stocks. And that's part of the reason why I'm able to be effective in this job, because no one owns me. No one owns.
You're not very effective, bud. You're not very effective. And we all know Donald Trump owns you.
This department, no one owns this president, and we can execute for the American people, and we do.
The law clearly prohibits the Secretary of Defense from owning stock in the 10 biggest defense contractors. Other senators and I sent you a letter with detailed questions about this, and you have not given us a response. So I'd like to hear you say, did you, through your broker at Morgan Stanley or otherwise, seek to invest in any defense-related funds right before Trump started the Iran war?
I'll give it to you as a big, fat negative.
Then let me ask.
Yeah, why didn't you just say that the first time? Why all the emotions? The Financial Times reported that a Morgan Stanley broker for Hegseth tried to purchase BlackRock defense ETFs, which includes Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, I think Boeing as well, right before the conflict started. So they're just following up on that reporting. Is it true or not? Just say no then. He did eventually say no. Why the big emotional rant? Just say no.
Ask you a second question. Is your broker getting your personal sign-off on any investment in...
I think he just lied under oath. It's a tricky one, right? Because what he's going to say is that he divested and his broker makes trades. It's the same thing Marjorie Taylor Greene said. It's the same thing all of these members of Congress and politicians always say, like, oh, I didn't know about the trade, and I never leaked that information to my broker. really hard to prove. I don't know. It's going to be really hard for them to prove. Even if he did authorize those trades and push for those trades, it's going to be really hard to prove unless they have a text message or an email of him saying to do it. That's why you should just ban them from being able to trade stocks at all. Because it's almost impossible. If you have an in-person conversation, then how are you ever going to prove it? Even if you have a phone call, it's not like all their phone calls are recorded. It's almost impossible to prove this. That's the real reason why insider trading happens in Congress and we can't do anything about it. We have to ban them trading, period. But we can't get enough people to sign on to that legislation.
Individuals stop
Bigger, fatter, negative.
He's not getting your sign off before he makes investments in defense stocks. Can I refer you to your
I'm not
ethics
making investments,
agreement?
Senator.
I am asking, does he know that he has to get your sign off before he does that?
Of course. I don't know what you're looking for, but you ain't going to find it.
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you know that she's not going to find it if you don't know what she's looking for? He just admitted, though, that he... Did you hear this? Hear the question, and he said, of course.
Negative.
He's not getting your sign off before he makes investments in defense stocks. Can I refer you to your
I'm not
ethics
making investments,
agreement?
Senator.
I am asking, does he know that he has to get your sign off before he does that?
Of course. I don't know what you're looking for.
Okay, so that might be a problem. Because now he's on the record saying, of course he knows he has to get my sign off before making investments. So if he did make investments into that ETF fund and Pete Hegseth signed off on it, that might be a problem.
But you ain't going to find it.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
I don't know what you're looking for, but you ain't going to find it is also the name of Pete Hegseth's sex tape. Boom, roasted.
I would like to enter into the record the ethics agreement that the Secretary of Defense has signed, that he will sign off personally before his broker makes any attempt to buy defense stocks.
Is there objection?
Thank you.
Without objection, it will be admitted.
Thank you, Christina.
Senator.
All right. We still have about 40 minutes. Okay, let's go. I want to talk about this because I want to talk about what's in front of the Supreme Court right now. We've heard enough from Congress. This is a little bit longer video, but
if a crime,
it's a really good explanation from NPR. Q in the chat, everybody calling NPR woke. You're going to mock this person's looks as well. Expect it from MAGA. Don't engage in it. Chairman looked bored as fuck. Yeah, I mean, it gets old with Pete Hegseth. It really does. If you ban Congress and the government from trading in the market, they'd all be homeless. No. I mean, you know who wouldn't be homeless? AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. There's a lot of people in Congress who aren't making a bunch of money. I think when they polled the financials for AOC, didn't she have like $14,000 total? And they were in like mutual funds? Not all of them would do that. Republicans would be in trouble. Most Democrats would be in trouble. But very few people that you hate that would be like on the far left are investing or taking like private money. The people that you hate the most aren't the ones that are getting rich.
happened here at my office. Should the police be able to see the location history of every telephone in the vicinity? Should they be able to see who was in that apartment?
Again, this is the case that's before the Supreme Court right now. This is the explanation.
Over there, or the church down the road? What about every phone that was at a riot? What about a protest? That's the heart of an upcoming Supreme Court case about Geo-fence warrants. And the story starts here with this map from the FBI. Near the center is where a bank robbery took place. When police came up dry on leads, they drew a large geographic circle around the bank and got a warrant that authorized Google to give them the location history of all the phones that had been in the area an hour before and after the robbery. So, swept up in the search was more.
Real quick before this goes, Justin, I just want you to understand what insider trading does. Like, you don't have to know for a certainty. So this person who insider traded on Maduro was part of the operation. The operation had been planned for months. And right before they did the operation, this person bet that they were going to get Maduro. Now, they knew where they were going. They knew where he was going to be. The intelligence was good. And they went and they executed. If the execution had not gone as planned, It doesn't change anything. That's still insider information. You still have a leg up on the competition. So insider, like there are people who insider trade who don't wind up winning, but it's still just the act of trading on insider information is a crime. The outcome is irrelevant. But if you trade on insider information, that is the crime. So all these things that you're talking about, like if you had insider information and you traded on those and you made bets, that would have been committing a crime. You need to understand that.
Than information about people at the bank. The Geo-fence warrant covered an area larger than 3 football fields, so it also collected information from people at this church and potentially at this restaurant, this hotel, and even people at this senior living facility.
I guess I have to do this for you, Justin. By that logic, nobody should be able to, who owns a company should be able to buy stock in their company. Nobody that works at a company should be able to buy stock in their own company. You don't understand logic or what we're talking about. If you work for a company, though, let's say you work for Apple, and you know that, let's say you work in procurement, and you know that there's going to be a shortage on some sort of chip. And because of that, it's going to delay the release of the new iPhone. If you trade on that information that Apple stock is going to go down, and you go and you short Apple stock, and Apple stock goes down, it is a crime. If you work for a company and you use insider information to trade that stock, yes, it is a crime. You can buy stock, but if you buy stock because of insider information or short stock, that's a crime. This isn't that hard, man. I don't know why you're trying to fight this battle right now, but this is just basic stuff. This is just our law. Maybe you don't like the law, but yes, trading on insider information is always illegal, even if you're betting on your own company. Just like Pete Rose betting on his own team was illegal.
Now, on the one hand, the cops caught the criminal. On the other, they swept up the private information of innocent bystanders. Although Google has modified some of its policies since, at the time this case began in 2019, about 1/3 of all Google users, some 500 million people, voluntarily opted into using Google's location history service, which stores users' location information on Google's cloud. So, are Geo-fence warrants ingenious or Orwellian or both? And ultimately, are they constitutional? The Fourth Amendment bars searches of people, their homes, papers, and effects without a warrant. Orrin Kerr is a law professor at Stanford who filed a friend of the court brief siding with the government in this case. The scary idea is, well, this can be applied to protesters by ICE. It can be applied.
Yeah, that's a good point, William. Opted in or opted in without being clear, I'd say the latter. That's kind of the argument here. And that's the argument with big tech. Implied consent, or excuse me, informed consent, right? When we're consenting to things, do we understand them? And these corporations rely on massive disclosure agreements that you're not going to read, and people just blindly hit accept. And then they're like, oh, well, you accepted it. That's not informed consent. And we should have laws that require informed consent.
To Nina when she's out trying to find people to interview. The founder's intent was that you couldn't invade the privacy of the citizens who had not necessarily done anything wrong. So how do you deal with that?
The history of the disputes that led to the enactment of the Fourth Amendment were about how much cause does the government need in order to break into someone's home and rifle?
Justin, I've said it like 3 times now. You got to let this one go. It doesn't matter if the mission was successful or not. If you trade on insider information, the outcome is fucking irrelevant. You can't trade on insider information. Please understand that. Stop making the same argument. We've already discussed this, but we're talking about Google now. So let's get on this subject.
Through their stuff. No one doubted that warrants could be obtained. It was just a problem that the warrants were too broad and obtained without enough cause.
So, how in modern times has the court thought about technological advances and the Fourth Amendment? For that, I reached out to Michael Dreeben. I turned to you because it's obviously your area of expertise. Dreeben served in the Justice Department for 31 years and argued 109 cases before the Supreme Court, most of them involving criminal law.
The court has, since the early 20th century, grappled with the problem.
Justin's got to be a bot, right? Did we just find a bot? by that logic, every single person that bets on their own company is insider trading. There's got to be AI because we already did this. Like, we're going in circles now. That's crazy. No, I think we found like an actual chat bot here, like using AI, because we already did that one. Somebody look at Justin's profile. Let me know if, with the number there, we might have found ourselves a bot. That is word for word the exact argument that we already did. That's crazy.
Problem of what to do with advancing technology that shrinks the area of privacy that the Fourth Amendment was intended to protect. And one can sum up those cases by saying...
Now you're using Apple as an example. Get the fuck out of here, Justin.
It has uniformly favored privacy interests rather than extending analog precedents that allowed government searches.
This geofencing case is the latest clash between privacy and law enforcement. To better understand this case, let's go back to where that robbery happened. In 2019, a robber walked into the bank with a gun and soon fled with $195,000. Police interviewed witnesses and reviewed the bank's surveillance footage, where they saw the man who appeared to be the thief talking on his cell phone. But after 2 months, all leads had evaporated. So police applied for a Geo-fence warrant directed at Google and its cell phone location information. A state magistrate judge found probable cause to issue the warrant for all the cell phone information within that circle. Google initially identified 19 cell phone users as potential suspects, but the company didn't identify those individuals by name. In fact, Google pushed back and negotiated with the police to reduce their request from 19...
Jay Resi just throwing out, never take your real phone, always a burner. You criminal. Justin, I'm going to ban you. You got to stay on subject. Please drop this, stay on subject. You're distracting the chat.
Identified users to 9, and then just 3 cell phone users. Whereupon, Google agreed to unmask the identities of those 3 users.
So one of those users is allegedly the criminal. The other 2 aren't. This is police state shit. Because tech companies exist and because they're allowed to track everything, your privacy can be violated. And that's the question. And this is the question for the Supreme Court. It's the question for all of us. Like, at what level of police state are we comfortable living in, and what are the limitations? Because 2 people out of the 3 had their rights violated, allegedly. I don't even remember how this case winds up. It might be 3 out of 3. I don't remember.
Including Okello Chatri.
Don't do that shit, Maverick. Don't do that fucking shit. Don't do that.
Who subsequently was arrested and entered a conditional guilty plea, allowing him to appeal. The other 2 identified users, as far as is known, were just innocent bystanders. And that's a potential problem.
They may have been going to church. They may have been going to a doctor. They may have been seeing a psychiatrist. They may have been visiting a lover. And they are swept up in the geofence because they happen to be there at that time, even though they have nothing to do with the robbery.
Geofencing can, in fact, sweep up lots of completely innocent people as suspects, and critics warn that it could be used by the government to spy on law-abiding citizens engaging in, among other things.
So I agree Trump's rights got violated in 2016 when he was spied on by the Obama administration. No, he wasn't spied on. How did they spy? What did they spy on Trump's phone? Did they spy on his email? What did they get? What did they gather off the tee? Tell me exactly what they got from Donald Trump, and then I'll tell you if I agree.
Lawful protests and political activity. On the other hand, as Dreeben notes, geofencing was used after the January 6th Capitol riot. In that case, federal law enforcement authorities used geofencing to figure out which demonstrators clashed with police and invaded the Capitol, as opposed to those who were peaceably walking on the Capitol grounds. The Trump administration will tell the justices that because cell phone users voluntarily opted into the Google location history feature, they have no reasonable expectation of privacy with or without a warrant, especially when they're out in public anyway. Representing the defendant, lawyer Adam Unikowski will counter that not only is a warrant required, but the warrant in this case was insufficient.
The Fourth Amendment enacts very specific requirements for warrants. A view at the founding that it's oppressive to allow the government to execute general warrants, which is basically a warrant that allows to search everyone's house for contraband. We argue in this case that the warrant...
No, I haven't seen it, Amy. The Pokemon Go stuff, I haven't seen. But I mean, I'd imagine they collected insane amounts of data on people from Pokemon Go.
It's unconstitutional because it allowed the government to search every single person's account, which is a little bit like searching every single person's house.
The government replies that it's only searching one place, Google. But Unikowski maintains that to find a needle in the Google haystack, Google has to sift through hundreds of millions of accounts. And that, he argues, is a dragnet, not a targeted search authorized by a judge.
They say that if you put data on the cloud, you've just given it away to the cloud service voluntarily, and therefore it's fair game for the government to come and get it. If that's true, then a lot of data that we thought was safe really wasn't.
But Michael Dreeben, the Justice Department veteran, summarizes the counter-argument this way.
Here, the government's view is that Google is the place to be searched. It is Google's servers that have the information that the government is requesting. The probable cause comes from the fact that the robber was seen holding a cell phone, presumably talking on it, maybe to an accomplice, to a getaway car driver. The government had therefore reason to believe that if this individual had opted into Google's location history, this would be a way to solve the crime.
Ultimately, he says, the Supreme Court will have two basic questions to answer. First is whether a geo-fence is covered by the Fourth Amendment at all. And second is whether the millions of people who voluntarily signed up to have their locations tracked essentially gave up any right to privacy.
Even the government would concede, I think, that a travel diary like that, that's maintained for my benefit by a third-party collector of information that holds it for me, is protected against arbitrary government action.
See you, Don.
So the court has to decide here, is the location history database that Google is holding like a diary? Is it my personal...
Yeah, you can turn your locations off. When I watched this yesterday, I went through like my Apple settings and like I think a lot of people will be just surprised how much location history you have on your apps. And so I went through and I got rid of, like, first of all, I never have any of them now on always. Some you need like a Lyft or whatever. They have to have access to your location, but there's things you can do. But once it's in their databases, what they're saying here is like, once it's in the cloud, it's there forever. It's theirs now. You can't go in and change that now.
Personal information, is it private property?
Does it really turn off? I hope so. And let's hope it does. If it doesn't, I mean, you have, you can obviously sue, and that would lead to a class action. I just don't think that many people go in and change it.
And just as if I hired a storage unit to maintain...
They spied on Trump claim still seems to be about FISA warrants against non-citizens. Yeah. Did we ever get an answer from that on what they think they spied on Trump for? Trump just says that, but I'm unaware of any devices that were spied on of Trump's.
The notebooks in which I kept personal notes, that would still be mine, and I would still have a privacy interest in it once I rented the storage locker and put it in. The argument is that this is the virtual equivalent.
This case is likely to be only the beginning of these kinds of cases. Google has tried to head off any problems by changing where location data is stored. Today it's kept...
I don't even think his office was bugged. I don't think they bugged Trump's office. I'll check, but I'm pretty sure his office wasn't bugged either.
On users' devices, not on Google servers, but there are countless other questions that remain unanswered.
What else can the government do? Can the government go to a private facial recognition database and say, we have a surveillance photo of this suspect, please run it against your entire database? Can it do the same thing with DNA? Can it go to
Were FISA warrants a thing under Obama? Yeah, we've had FISA warrants for a while.
and say, I want to know people who chatted with Claude about plotting revolution against the United States.
Google has filed a brief in this case that technically does not take sides, but it explicitly calls for a warrant requirement and takes the...
I don't want to be like mean here, but it says who cares at this point? They can listen and watch in even if you're not actively on your phone. Like, yeah, fine. Like, that's pretty defeatist, right? Who cares? They can do stuff is just like, that's conservatism in a nutshell. I don't know if you're conservative or not, but like, that's what conservatism is. Oh, just let it happen to you. There's nothing we can do to change it. That's the point. That's why we show this, is because there is something you can do about it.
Position that digital records should receive the same protection.
Thank you, Becca. Said Antifa dues and late fee. The NSA is the only part of the government that listens to the people.
As physical records. Of course, Google is not the only tech company, and at some future point, the government might turn to other tech giants more willing to do what the government wants.
All right. So, let's do this real quick. I just wanted to hear part of this Supreme Court case. They've already had the hearings on it. We'll wait for what their judgment is. But I want to play this audio from Sonia Sotomayor about phone location tracking and just hear the argument that's being made here. Sorry, let me grab that real quick. IMFRCD said license plate readers. All right. I don't know exactly what that means. We got about 20 minutes left. Actually, this will probably be the last video that we play today. We're going to end a little early, I think. So maybe 10 minutes left. We're pretty close on the goal. I'll update that. But if you guys want to get in last-minute donations before the day is over, that would be greatly appreciated. Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal, as well as Super Chats. I'll make sure I read them all before we get out of here.
I'm sorry, are you through?
You're on.
I was right. No surveillance was done on Trump. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that Trump says all the time, like they spied on me. They never have spied on Trump. The Russia investigation, they didn't access any. It wasn't even an investigation into Trump. It's just that that's what he does. He makes everything about him so he can be a crybaby. They didn't access his personal information or his phone or his emails. It was just people that worked for his administration that legitimately were doing work with Russia at the same time. They were committing crimes. They pled guilty to those crimes. And Donald Trump has convinced millions of people that despite pleading guilty, everybody was innocent. And despite the investigation not being into him, somehow it was also an investigation into him.
To go back to just...
No discussion about SCOTUS Voting Rights Act ruling. We covered that yesterday, Roly Poly Bolo.
Justice Barrett's... If you're not through, Sam, I thought you were through.
Go ahead.
To go back to Justice Barrett's question. When the police are searching or asking for a search result, there's no way to predict whether they're going to invade your privacy, correct?
That's right. Searches are determined ex ante.
There's no video because it's Supreme Court, so they always just show this. It's just audio.
Because people take their phone now everywhere, including, I suspect, some people to the bathroom. You really have no idea what information, private information, because it'll follow you to a brothel, it'll follow you to a cannabis shop, it'll follow you to just about anywhere where there's a reasonable expectation of privacy, correct?
Yes.
And so it really doesn't matter. I don't think the time...
Justin, thank you for that AI-generated summary, incidental collection versus bugging. Even read what you posted agrees with me. While no evidence supported a physical bugging of Trump Tower, intelligence agencies did conduct legal incidental collection of communications involving Trump. Right? So they did not bug Trump. They did not investigate Trump. But people who were working with foreign governments were also talking to Trump, and so they picked up those communications. That's not spying on Trump.
Important, correct?
I agree with that.
So whether it's a minute that you're searching for or 6 weeks, it's not the time that's at issue. It's whether or not private information in which you have a reasonable expectation of privacy
Thank you, Jesse B.
will be sought, correct?
Yes.
That's why Justice Scalise said it didn't matter for Fourth Amendment purposes to search the heat waves emanating from your house, because though it's not giving out private information, you can't know in advance what it's going to disclose, correct?
Yes.
All right, now let's go to that more important part of the question that Justice Barrett asked, which is, we didn't answer this question in Carpenter, but I don't see how its logic made time the defining characteristic. Could you explain why not?
Sure.
It would seem to me that particularity has nothing to do with time. It has to do with the relationship of time to the circumstance that justifies the need.
Right. So there's two questions about time, one of whether there's a search at all, and then the second question of whether the warrant was sufficiently particularized. So as to the first question, I don't think the time period should matter as to the search because, I don't think the court should be in the business of drawing
Yeah, it was interesting. I should call him Sam, not Alito.
lines between 7 days and 2 days and 24 hours, especially since the government gets to choose the time interval. So 2 hours at a place selected by the government really can reveal a lot.
Sure, but the government in setting forth the warrant has to give a reason for why that 2 hours is reasonable, correct?
Of course. So that gets to the question of particularization, and that goes to the warrant. And I would like to say a few words about what the court should do if it doesn't agree with me that this is a general warrant in which all tens of millions of people were searched. We still think there is a Fourth Amendment violation because there wasn't probable cause to search all 19 people within the Geo-fence merely because of their proximity to the crime. I get the fact that a time period was specified.
Well, Google itself said that to them, and I don't know why why we would say it's okay to rely on Google to do that. They moved it from 19 to 9, wasn't it?
That was at step 2, Your Honor.
Oh, step 2. Okay.
Yes, but at step 1, 19 people.
Oh, sorry. For those of you asking, this is Chattree versus U.S. This is talking about Geo-fence warrants, which is exactly what we just watched there, which force companies, in this case Google, to identify every single user near a crime scene, which obviously violates the Fourth Amendment, right? It was not your fault that you were near a crime scene. You have a reasonable expectation of privacy if you are near a crime scene. But this forces companies like Google to either fight back against law enforcement who's going to push and push and push, or give up the identity of anybody near a crime scene. And they're arguing now about this 2-hour rule, where it's like anybody around the crime scene for 2 hours. That's a lot of people having their rights violated in order to try and find the perpetrator.
Information was exposed merely because they were near the scene of the crime. And so I don't think that the problem, I understand that the warrant specified a time period, but the particularity requirement in the Fourth Amendment requires particularity as to what is searched. And I don't think that certainly I don't think there's particularization here when the warrant just said whatever unspecified number of people are in the proximity.
Well, it's a reasonable expectation of privacy because you have the Fourth Amendment. Because the Fourth Amendment gives you protection against unreasonable searches. So being in public, Justin, to explain that, like, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy in terms of like somebody coming in, or somebody looking at you or taking a picture of you. But because this is accessing your personal information, in this case, your phone, and in order to figure out who you are, they have to access your records. The argument is that is an unreasonable search. So that's why they're talking about the Fourth Amendment here. It does seem like a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. If they have to go in and take your devices, which are personal to you, and access that device in order to figure out who you are, then your Fourth Amendment is clearly being violated.
Of the crime, those are the people to be searched. I don't think that's particularized description of what is to be searched, and I think there's a probable cause problem here.
You don't have an expectation of Justin, listen. This isn't about whether or not somebody can take a picture of you. Justin, if you're in public, can I access your phone? No. Oh, man, it does seem like you go out of your way to like not understand what we're saying sometimes. It's about the access to your personal device. Google, a company that you have paid to store your data, is giving that data to the police because you were in the vicinity of where a crime happened. Now, if the police see a picture of you on a camera and they put that picture out and say, we want to talk to this person, that's different. That's not a violation of your Fourth Amendment because none of your property was seized. None of your Fourth Amendment rights were violated there. This violates the unreasonable search clause in the Fourth Amendment. Does that make sense?
because the fact that someone's near the crime doesn't create probable
He's
cause
disagreeing
to
with you because you're Jay and it's Thursday. Yeah, it feels like it.
search their diary, and we view this as the functional equivalent of a search of their diary.
That's a great example there. Justin, if you're in public, can somebody search your diary? No. There we go. Don't need to give ID to random people around the street walking around you. That's true. Okay, let me get some comments and then we'll get out of here. Jamar said, came for the news and your commentary, but I stayed for the stirrup glory hole. Chris said in support of spell check. Brett said, yesterday my wife, who doesn't watch your show, told her MAGA cousin to get off your knees and take Trump's dick out of your mouth. Told her RTP says that daily and would be proud of her. I am proud of her. Your wife deserves some flowers today. Get your wife some flowers, or, do that thing that not all husbands do. Make your wife happy today. She deserves it. And all of you guys deserve a really good day too. Let me check comments here real quick. I think we're done. I think I got them all. Did I miss anybody? Jen, did I miss any?
Let me double check them really fast.
Publix has nice flowers. Get her a pub sub and some flowers. Really make her day. Get her that buffalo chicken pub sub.
I think that's all of them.
Maybe not buffalo chicken if you're going to do that other thing. Maybe something less spicy if you're going to do that one. Or just do it in order. Maybe the pub sub comes after. Flowers, the other thing. Pub sub after you've worked up an appetite. There we go. All right.
And this is unmedicated.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, never mind. Ooh, that was almost an overshare. I will see. I stopped an overshare, Jen.
You did.
Could I be praised, please?
Gold star for you.
Thank you. I need positive reinforcement when I stop an overshare. All right, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're watching. Thank you, everybody. I know that was that was a nerd show. So if you're not a nerd, you probably didn't stick around. If you were here the whole time, congratulations. You're a fucking nerd. That show was 100% for me and not for the audience. We'll see what Unmedicated Jay brings tomorrow. Sad Renee says, big ask, but I would love if you could add timestamps to the topics you cover. That way, when I'm debating the dumb fucks, I can dog walk them. I don't know how to do that. I would also love if I could add timestamps to the topics I cover, but I have no idea how to do that. If somebody would like to volunteer to help us add timestamps to our YouTube channel, go right ahead. That would be great, but I don't know how I would even go about doing that. So cool. Other than that, guys, we'll see you tomorrow bright and early. Take care of yourselves. Go outside and touch grass if you can't touch grass. Smoke grass if you can't smoke grass or touch grass. Best of luck to you. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to your friends and your family. Get the boots on the ground. Drink water. Say nice things about yourself. But most importantly, ELE, everybody love everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And until then, stay cute and cool and have a great summer. Boom.